you?
Nope.
Okay, what about you ladies? Do you like it when a guy takes you on a date and he's reading from a script? Like, hey, what's your favorite color? Okay, how many kids do you have? You know, all that thing. So you'll learn that just being yourself is preferred. And it's really tough because as you get started the first couple of months, you want to read from a script because you're afraid of making mistakes. The number one thing I would want you guys to take away from today is you still have your birthday. Okay, what does that mean?
That means they can't take away you.
They can't take anything from you, right? And so this is what you dealt with today, whoever had a hard time today, that was as hard as this business ever gets. Truly, it's as hard as it gets. Anybody have good experiences with agents today? Yes. Okay, give me some feedback, Leo.
Leo something. Leonidas. Hi guys, everyone. Yeah, I called Michael. Where I set up an appointment for Thursday, and then I called Ivan. He started talking to me about creative finance, Subto. I said we do all of that. So another appointment, yeah.
Cool. So it is sometimes luck of the draw, and I actually prefer the agents that are the ones that you dealt with, which are like, oh, you're an investor, I want to hang up on you. Because then I just know if I can overcome them, then the people like Ivan who are leaning in and they want to talk about creative finance, those are layup deals, right? So I want to learn that skill, which is overcoming that of like, hey, yeah, I am an investor, but even if this house doesn't work for us, I'd like to build a relationship just in case I have somebody that needs to list their house. I can send them to you. Oh, now I've got them. Now they're hooked. So you want to tell them, how can I benefit you? Provide value. Why do you want to stay on the phone with me? Hey, maybe the house that we're going to talk about doesn't work, which is perfect, but it at least shows you how we work on these types of offers. And in the future, if I have somebody who needs to list the house, I'm not a real estate agent. I can send them over to you to get that listing. Are you open to that? Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. So when should we have a conversation? Remember, you're not trying to set an appointment about the house. You're trying to set an appointment about building a relationship. So whenever you run into that or encounter that, oh my gosh, my freaking girlfriend. Hey, come on up here. Hey, Corbin and Monday, come up here. Come on up here, girls. Hey, you haven't seen Jamil in a little bit. Come say hi to Jamil. Hey, Laura, come up here real fast. Uncle Jamil. Hey, show Jamil your missing teeth.
What?
Hi, sweetheart. Should we embarrassingly sing happy birthday to my wife? This is one of those moments of like, should I listen to my wife or should I not listen to my wife? Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear mommy. Happy birthday to you.
Amazing. Okay, so I've got a call at 3. One of the calls that I'm making at 3, I'm actually going to do in another room because it's being recorded on Zoom. Too many like audio issues. Yes, sir. Adam.
Can I ask your wife the favorite present that you got her? What was your wife's favorite present you did for her?
What's your favorite thing I've ever done for you besides get you pregnant?
For my birthday? I was just going to say, got babies? I don't know.
Have I ever done anything nice for you?
This one.
That one? Okay. She does love receiving gifts. Oh, you have? Bring it up here. Okay, let's have her. No, don't sing again. Let's just have her blow it out. Mel, light it up. Mel, why are you so good with a lighter? Hey, Corbin, do you want to help Mom blow that out? Okay. Don't do it yet. Monday. Second child energy right there. Hey, Monday, you have to blow it at the same time as Mom. You do it at 1, 2, 3, and then blow it. Okay. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Yay! All right, so we've got Matthew Starr is going to be taking our first call today at 3 o'clock. But then we've got Casey, we've got Jamil, and Ingrid will be in here. I'm jumping on a Zoom with who at 3 o'clock? Skylar, which was the agent that told Casey originally, we don't want to do Subto, and he converted that conversation, changed her mind, and now she's open to it. So I'm going to jump into the other room. We are recording it. We will email it to everybody. I promise you, I do everything I do is recorded. Just ask my wife. That's a joke. So I'll jump into the other room. I think this man needs some boobs. I was talking about me. Sorry, sweetheart. Okay, so I'll jump into the other room. We're going to get going. We should have a deal or two today, which will be really, really great. You guys have a better feel of where these leads come from? Yes? And that is as hard as this business will ever get. Pretty simple. We find that out of every about 20 calls we make in here, where the closers call, about every 20 calls we make, we get a deal. Pretty simple. One of them we have a couple of deals I think that we're going to probably pop off today, which is really good. The agents start reaching back out to you via text message, and that's the part that you guys don't get to see. So the agents will get a phone call from us. Sometimes they don't reply or they don't answer the phone. You guys saw like 3 calls yesterday did not pick up. Guess who's calling us late at night or texting today? My guy at 4 o'clock yesterday was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I saw the offer. My client's interested in Subto. Can you call me today? So I think that that's another deal that we'll lock up today, which will be really fun. It was one of the calls that he didn't pick up the phone. Okay, Casey, Matthew, Jamil, Ingrid, you guys are going to be in this room. I'm going to jump into the other room and handle a Zoom that's starting in like 2 minutes. Let's give it up for our closers, please. And Jamil, the floor is yours, my friend.
Test, 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 test. There we go.
Thank you, Helen.
All right, Ingrid.
Yo.
Who's got our 3 o'clock?
Oh, it's mine. Yes.
It's you?
Yes. It's me.
I don't want you to call at 3. I want to make you wait.
Okay. Corbin, now you can say get deals. You want to come say get deals? Okay. Ready?
Get deal.
Yeah!
Okay.
All right, let's get some deals.
Let's get some
Floor
deals.
is yours, Ingrid.
All right, here
Monday,
we go.
can you be my good luck charm? You too, Corbin, please. I need you guys. Come here.
I like Korean.
Hi, you've reached Connie Sam.
If you haven't double dialed, you haven't single dialed. Yes? Yes. You're from London? No, England? Yes? Yes? Oh, okay. I want an accent like that. If you haven't called twice, you haven't called once. No, I don't know if I'm good at that. No one ever says that about BB and accent. No. I'm vibey.
Hi, you've reached
No,
Connie
no, I can't
Sam.
vibey like that. Okay. Oh,
Please leave your name,
Randy,
number, and
she's
message,
from
and I
EXP.
will
She didn't
return your
answer.
call.
I'm just kidding. Shame. Shame. All right. Somebody want to call early? Who's got the 315?
Let's do it.
Who's got the 315?
That'll be me.
Yeah, Star Beezy.
Let's do it.
Let's go. Wait, how do you actually say your last name?
Starbeezy. You got it down.
No, I didn't.
No, Starbukovsky.
Oh, Starbucks.
Pretty good, pretty good. I go by Matt Star, though, to not stress anybody out.
Well, because I call Starbucks Star Beezy. You're my.
I'm here for it.
Can you see it? Because you misspelled my name?
You guys think Matt's gonna get a deal right now? Yeah.
Let's
Yeah,
do
right?
it.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere, I think.
Hi, this is Liz.
Hey Liz, how we doing?
Good. Who is this?
My name is Matthew Starbukovsky. I'm reaching out about that 8th Avenue property that you have listed.
Yeah.
Awesome. Did I catch you at a horrible time to chat?
Let me move for a second. Sorry.
I appreciate that.
Okay, sorry about that.
Oh, no worries, Liz. Okay, so from the top, love the potential of the asset, but you guys have been up for a little while. Catch me up to speed. Let's go.
Yeah, so my sellers bought this property and then bought the lot next to it, combined them, and he kind of just wants to see what it would go for, kind of thing. We've gotten a handful of offers, a lot of investor offers, but they've all been very lowball. My client believes that the property is worth a lot more than what these offers are, so we're kind of just waiting for the right offer to come in.
Yeah. No, I hear that. Okay, interesting. So it sounds like your client did buy the property with the intention of it being an investment, right?
Yeah, he wanted to build his forever home on it eventually, but it ended up not working, and he ended up staying in California.
What part of Cali?
I actually don't remember.
That's fair. No worries. I don't necessarily need to know that. Okay. So you guys have been listed for about 100 days. You've had a number of investors come call you, give you a lowball offer that your client thought was disrespectful. Did you guys happen to counter any of them or have any further discussions after you received an initial offer?
We did get one offer that was fairly close to what they were looking for. We did counter it, but they just couldn't come up to the price that they wanted.
Okay. So what do you think is the next step then?
I mean, we are just kind of waiting. I mean, yeah, he isn't sure if he's gonna keep it on the market. I think in the next couple of months, he's just gonna see if he can sell it, and if he can't get the number he wants, then he's just gonna hold on to it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, and considering he's bought it 4 or 5 years ago now, it looks like there's no debt on the house. Wouldn't it make sense for him to like put some money into the asset, bring it up to top value, and then sell it with you again?
He doesn't want to do that. That's not something he wants to do.
Yeah. I mean,
Are you potentially wanting to put an offer in, or?
God willing, I think that there's so much upside, especially with the large lot on this one. I don't see no reason why we couldn't get a deal done. A little bit of context on me, Liz. I know I started right away with berating you with questions. I'm an investor. I'm based in Southern California, but I do buy properties throughout the Sunbelt states. I'm an escrow right now on 7 homes between multifamily buildings to single, and I'm actively looking for new development assets. So this is something that I'm interested in. It's just gonna have to make sense when it comes to dollars and cents, right? So you don't need to answer this question. In fact, you might think that I'm prying. You might even think that I'm like a sociopath investor. What's the best offer that you guys have looked at where your client took it seriously?
About 240.
Oh my gosh. Take that and run with it. I mean, we're only 20 grand off.
Yeah, they had a buyer's agent, and that was another issue that kind of came up. I mean, they bought it, like you said, a couple years ago. So I think they're just trying to profit as much as possible for holding on to it for a while.
Okay, I see. So if I were to come unrepresented, save him the extra 3 points, maybe even consider covering closing costs, and I'm definitely not the only decision maker in my business, but I can probably talk my partner Carlos into getting into this. If I did send an offer at 240 with no contingencies, what would be our next step?
We would, discuss it, and then there is a tenant living in there. Did you read up on that?
I am not up to speed, but this is why I'm grateful to be talking to you, Miss Liz.
Perfect. So there is a tenant in there. She's been in there since before my owner even bought it, and so she is just month to month as of right now. She pays about $900, and they just requested that she be given a 60 days notice to vacate, just because she's been there so long and she's older. So just try and give her more time to find her next place.
Yeah, Lord knows I would not kick her off on the street. That wouldn't be a problem necessarily. So she's paying $900 a month in rent. Let's say I buy the property, 60-day passes. What do you think I can get top market value after I put some love into the property?
For this specific, if you bought that,
As-
is what you're saying?
Yeah, if I bought it as is, I put some love into it, help the lady transition into her next property. If I went back to you and I said, hey Liz, we need to get this thing leased up, what would you help me find a tenant at?
Sorry, 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sorry about that.
You're good, I don't take offense.
So, you said that if you were to buy it and fix it up, what do I think would be a fair price for it if you were to do all that?
Yeah, if I were to put in all the love possible, bring it to top market value, double pane windows, make it look real cute, what do you think we can get in rent?
I'm not entirely sure. I would have to look at, the rental,
Sure.
what rentals are going for in that area for sure. Okay. I mean, this, kind of like you said, this lot is very unique. It's a lot bigger. Do you guys usually just do flips or do you build as well?
Yeah, so open to development. Generally, I'm flipping and I'm holding rentals. So with this one, my idea, at least my vision, and walk with me here, my vision is to help the lady transition out of the property, bring it up to top market value, hold it as a rental, and then let the asset appreciate long enough for me to get out of it in, say, 7 to 10 years.
I gotcha. Okay.
Now, this might be something you've heard already, but if I go to the bank right now and I get a loan between 7 and 9%, and it is a DSCR, I'm going to assume the rent on this property is going to be about $1,300. I'd probably be able to pay somewhere in the range of $190, maybe $205 all in. If I did send an offer at $190,000, maybe $205, would your client tell me to kick rocks?
I mean, I can always present it to him for sure. I think you being okay with the 60 days for the renter currently does improve it. But I don't want to waste anyone's time. I mean, is that kind of your final and best?
Well, so I buy property in a lot of ways, and at the end of the day, my goal is to take care of your client and everybody involved in the transaction. In this case, it does sound like the priority is making sure that the tenant is taken care of, and then the seller gets as close to asking price as possible. I'm not sure if I can do this, but there was this property that I bought. It was on 483 Fox Sparrow Road in Somerville, South Carolina. The seller's name was Michael Anthony Thomas. Michael was adamant that his house was worth $380,000. If I sent him an offer at $379,000, he would tell me to kick rocks. And I ended up figuring out a structure that allowed me to get Michael the price that he wanted as long as I could get the terms that I needed. If I were to present an offer with financing that isn't necessarily from the bank at 10%, do you think that your client would be considerate of the fact that I could upgrade them from a landlord with all the problems that they have doing it in California to being a lender?
No, I don't think so.
It sounds like you guys have gotten those offers in the past then.
Mm-hmm.
What was your client's concern with being the bank then?
They didn't like the interest rate, and it would just take too long to pay off, kind of thing. He just didn't really want to deal with it. He would rather just take the cash, because like I said, they don't have to sell. They just kind of decide to put it on and see what they could get, but they firmly believe it's worth pretty close to list price. So
Yeah, and I'm not here to fight on the price. Sounds like you've spent a lot of time on this listing as well.
yeah.
Okay. So this is what I think we should do. I don't want to waste your time or my own. I'm going to send you a few different offers. I'm going to look at it in cash based on what I can get a loan at from the bank right now. That'll be the easiest way for me to get it done. We'd probably be able to close between 2 and 3 weeks. I'm also going to send an offer with him being the bank. My idea is that if I can put enough cash in his pocket for him to move on with life and create a dynamic where he gets maybe even more than what he's selling it for now, we could create a structure that's mutually beneficial. What do you think?
Yeah, you can send them over and we can see what we can work out.
And if I do present that offer, because that's 100% going to be my intention here, what would we do next? Hello, Miss Liz?
Sorry about that. I mean, yeah, if you want to just go ahead and send over an offer like I said, then we can kind of, see what they say and just go from there, and I'll see if any other terms can kind of change their mind or, what would be important to them. So,
Yeah, I
that
appreciate
works.
that. Okay, that's fantastic. So I'm going to plan to send you guys a full price offer with enough of a down payment for your client to focus on his next steps and terms that are feasible enough that he feels comfortable that he's still getting a return on his original acquisition 4 years ago. Sound good?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Amazing.
For that offer, I did want to know, how much are you willing to put down for a non-refundable furnace deposit?
Does a point sound fair?
I'm sorry, what?
Does a point sound fair to you?
1%.
I'm confused.
Sorry. If I put 1% of the purchase price down, would that be fair?
Oh. And
So
would
it'd
it
be,
be,
let's
okay
say
if
it'd
it was
be,
non-refundable?
yeah, non-refundable, $3,000 down. If we can get terms that make sense for me, I'm gonna have no problem closing on this.
Okay, yeah, just send it over and we can go from there.
Awesome. Liz, I'm gonna try to get the offer over to you in, God willing, the next 24 hours, maybe 48. Once you get it, I'm gonna give you a call back so that we can walk through some of those terms. You know your client obviously well enough over the last 100 days that you guys have been listed that you'll have a good idea of what makes sense for him. From there, we can figure out if we need to reposition the offer or we'll go straight to a contract.
Okay, sounds good.
Awesome. God bless you. I appreciate the grace with your time.
Thank you. Have a good one. Bye.
You take it easy. Bye-bye.
All right, I love that. I think that was really well played. She, interestingly enough, I think will present the creative offer, and I loved how you anchored that because your cash offer was low. And who believes that she has an offer at 240 in here? Yeah, okay. No, she has no offer
Take
at
that
240.
and run with it.
For the
dude, all
record,
day.
she's doing her job though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she is.
100%.
That's like I would lie to. That would be my fiduciary to my client, for sure.
I don't know if lying is doing your fiduciary duty, but well,
We've actually had this conversation
Yeah.
as a part of like our brokerage discussions.
Yeah.
And part of this is playing poker. So part of it is instigating a conversation, because let's say my client has told me I don't want to take anything less than 240.
Yep.
Then you're also anchoring as an agent.
Understood. Okay. All right. So then, liar, liar, pants on fire, fiduciary wins. I right away she showed her hand inadvertently by not scoffing at the 190 offer that he said that he'd present cash. I think, Matthew, the way that you're presenting that in the sandwich is really, really good, because he's got, layers, right?
Yep.
He's got one layer, his cash is going to be low. It's not the most advantageous. It's not the most appealing, but it's reliable. It'll do all the things that they want to have happen done, right? Property sold, out of the seller's name, they move on with their life, and away we go.
It's the lettuce in the burger.
Yes, exactly. But then when he gives them the creative offer and he says things like it might be even a little bit higher than what you guys are looking at, and then she started to ask, the moment she asked about, I thought she was asking you about down payment on your creative deal, but then what she really meant was EMD. Now, I don't know if you caught this part. She was in the car with somebody.
Was she?
She put you on mute.
Yeah.
Oh, shot.
And you were on speaker that whole time.
Yep.
And the person that was sitting with her is the one that said, find out about non-refundable earnest money. That's 1,000% what happened in that car. Because she started using terms that I don't even think she understood what she was saying. Because when on God's green earth would you give a non-refundable earnest deposit on an offer on a house that's 100 days on market? So the person sitting with her was like, they wanted to gauge your seriousness. And the moment you said, and of course you confused her with a point, I would always use percentages when talking to agents, because Ingrid pointed out she's not a lender, she doesn't understand points, but it also, by you saying that, spoke to your understanding, and that you're like a guy who's doing business. You speak the language. You're like, oh, no problem, since you don't understand the terms. 1%, which I thought was also really funny and great.
Then she didn't understand 1% either. So
I think she was still confused, and then he had to say $3,000, and she's like, okay.
Which, by the way, she ended up getting more than 1%.
She did.
So I don't know, played dumb.
Yeah. I really like the way that call went, and I think that you have a solid chance on this deal.
I think so too.
So I'm excited to see how this plays out, and I commend you on that one, brother. Very well done. Very well done. Yeah.
my question is, realtors, right? You've seen HUD.
Realtors, yeah.
Realtors. Real estate agents. I've seen HUD.
Some.
Why wouldn't they know what a point is?
Because it's not conversation we have. Because points usually refer to fees, and an earnest money deposit is technically not how we'd say fee. I'll send you $3,000 or I'll send you 1%. We actually get taught you should always ask the buyer to at least bring 1% of the purchase price. For me, a point is more of a fee or a flat fee, and that's just not associated with our offers.
Also, it's investor vernacular too.
Yeah.
So when we talk in points, usually it's investors, investor agents, hard money lenders. Yeah, so we're always
Commercial
talking in
agents.
commercial agents, they're talking in points. A residential retail agent, which is exactly what this agent is. She probably was just super confused because she hadn't heard the term before, I would imagine, is what
She was actually super open.
Yeah,
So
she was
I'm like,
She was cool. I mean, she needs the deal sold. She doesn't get paid unless it gets sold. And
Right.
I think that we've got a pretty strong dynamic. Her client doesn't want it, obviously. They have a tenant that's paying significantly below market. So I think a seller finance deal could work.
All in all, and here's what I of course, when you're listening to a call, start to think in your mind, oh, I would like to see this, or I would like to see that, or I'd like to say, are any of you guys getting that little voice in your head?
Yeah.
Okay, hands up if you are. Okay, amazing. Amazing. When that starts happening to you, and it's not to say that you would do something better than what Matt would do. That's not it at all. What's speaking to you right now is how you would authentically play that hand.
Absolutely.
And that is a great sign for you, because that says that you're in alignment with what you're supposed to be doing. Because if you can inside of yourself come up with, oh my God, I would like to respond this way, I'd like to say this that way, you're ready to get in the game.
Absolutely.
Right? So for me, when I was listening to that, and she was, talking about the tenant, I would have said, hold on a second, you have a tenant in the property, which makes this even more difficult to show. The photos on this property are very sparse, which tells me that maybe you had a hard time even getting in to take the pictures. She's elderly, she's gonna need 60 days. I mean, all of the reasons why this has to be sold to an investor. I'm sorry, but a retail buyer's not gonna be able to take this, and you guys said no to 240, honey, you should cancel this listing. Like, that would be my play with that, and then I'd like to see her walk herself out of that one, right? And then kind of...
Yeah, I nudged in that direction when I said, like, you spent a lot of time on this listing,
did.
but like
Yeah, you did.
agitating that
You
would have been,
did.
that would have been really good.
Yeah, I think that was all so well. And also, I love your style. I love that he is eloquent and kind through the entire conversation, right up until the way that he signs off on the call, because it might be a little interesting, because he does sound very polished, and sometimes polished people are selling you something, right? And so if she's like, oh, I don't quite understand what this guy's about, at the end of that, she's going to be like, that's just a sophisticated, kind man, that has a very eloquent way to speak. All of which I think is really, really great. So I'm a fan. I think you're doing a great job.
Thank you, man.
Yes.
Yesterday I talked to Ingrid about a fiduciary duty. That's kind of come up again.
It's a duty.
Yeah. So
You said
you
duty.
wanted to know why you're selling, and we talked about, well, really, if you know something, you can't really tell them. But what are some of the things that we can ask where you're not?
You can ask whatever you want. It's up to the agent and their client to come to alignment on what the agent is allowed to say. But there is some repercussions if you let a lot of information out. So if I tell you guys, and this was the example we used yesterday, if I tell you that my sellers are divorcing and you're a shark, you're probably going to use that against me. But if you're a well-to-do investor who actually wants to serve that couple, you're probably going to try in every which way you can to see how you can make it work, right? So it just depends on who is on that other side of that phone call, and it's in our best interest as agents to reserve that until you've built enough trust with that investor. Or like if it's Jamil and he's a repeat investor of mine, of course I want to share that, because it's going to be more probably to my client's better interest that he knows the circumstance so that we can solve the problem together. It just really depends. But as an agent, I serve my client first. I have to make every decision in their best interest before my own.
So the why could be not answered at all, or so that you're not knowing how motivated, I guess, the seller is in a situation. Or can you ask that question?
You can ask anything you want.
They just don't have to
They
answer.
don't have to answer. An agent does not have to answer why.
So when somebody, like if Ingrid didn't want to tell me, I would start throwing out assumptions. Sounds like your client's about to get into a divorce. It sounds like they're moving. Ingrid is more likely to respond to me and correct me than she is to answer a question, because
Right.
she feels like she's being interrogated. But if I
Right.
start throwing out assumptions, Ingrid's like, dude, this guy's so wrong, I'm gonna tell him.
Yeah.
And so we can gather information even when we're being wrong. So that would be my advice there. But specifically with creative finance.
Sandler method.
Yeah, very much so.
Uh-huh.
But you don't get a deal done unless you solve a real problem. So we do have to understand the motivation. Ingrid on her first call, this lady on this call isn't going to give me the meat and potatoes, and that's why Pace talks about it taking 13 to 17 calls sometimes to get a deal done.
Yeah. That guy's arm's gonna fall off. What's your name?
Isaiah,
Hi, Isaiah.
I was going to ask you the line that you used about purchase the property and made it look nice and pretty for its market values. You said something along those lines, and then you used her like you were going to use her to list it or something.
Yeah.
What did you like? Can you repeat or
Brother, I talked straight out of my you-know-what the whole time. So that wouldn't happen, but my intention, even when I was doing that, was posture her up, but also I was looking to start reverse engineering what a seller finance deal could actually look like, because if she did tell me the house rents for $1,400, I already know how I can back myself into a deal based on what they're currently getting in rent to get the seller the type of return that he was looking for. And so at the end of the day, that's all that I was really doing. And if I can give her the warm and fuzzies along the way, that's always going to be good.
Another cool thing that Matt, next time he does a call, watch this. So if you guys have read the book, Never Split the Difference, one of the things, you guys know what he's doing? Anybody know what it is? It sounds like he's labeling, right? He does a lot of labeling when he's in that conversation, and he throws stuff out. Because typically that agent, instead of him asking it directly, he'll do a label, and then she corrects him.
Yeah.
Right? So he does it really well. So pay attention to that next time.
Thank you, brother.
You bet. I love it.
Awesome. Okay,
we're super late, probably.
We're late for the 3:15. Is there a 3:15 call?
This actually was a 3:15.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ingrid's 3 missed out.
We have a 3:30 coming up.
My 3 o'clock called back, and then I have a 3:30. I feel like I'm burger layered over here. Casey, you want to make? Casey, this is Montana. You want to call?
Oh, I'll take Montana.
Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
But we'll go.
Sure. But I'll
we'll
do
go
you back.
halvesies.
Yeah, you want to go for, or who do you want to go
That's
first?
3:30 his call?
Yeah, which is at 3:28. Yeah.
Casey, swap and give her one of yours.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah, because I didn't get one till later because I was going to
Yeah.
the other room.
He has 3.
we didn't hear from Mr. Perfect Smile over there, so okay. All right. Thank
Okay,
you.
your 3 can wait, right? Because they just called you back, kind of
Yeah,
thing?
sure.
So let him be on
Yeah.
time for his? Yeah.
Totally.
Perfect.
Okay.
Ooh, Beverly. Do we have an address? I just have Beverly Avenue.
Maybe on the other side, brother.
Oh.
They do that for Pace. Pace wants less, I think, right?
Yeah.
This is strategic. Good job.
Oh, Missoula.
He just likes to make us look bad.
I know.
He can do it. He can do all the things without any information.
Jamil,
like
actually, what I
turkey.
was thinking was like the people who are used to calling only have their cell phones, and then the nerds that came to join us brought their laptops up here. I noticed that.
We know what's up. We're
We
like,
know.
We don't need nothing but our cell phones.
That's right. That's right.
Cell phones in a Starbucks, please.
Annalise. All right. Off market, direct to seller. Maybe.
Oh, damn it. I should have kept it. But we're going halvesies.
I love you, Ingrid.
I'll let you talk to the agent.
What, I already?
I know.
Ooh.
Hi, you've reached Ann.
Did you close the deal?
Come on.
Hi, you've reached Annalise Petal,
Yeah.
ERA Lambros.
Okay, I'm going to text her.
You texted her.
Hit your 3. Hit
Yeah,
your 3.
I'll hit,
Yeah.
I'll hit my
Yeah.
3. I'll get my Connie over here. Hazelton.
Hi, this is Connie.
Hi, Connie. It's Ingrid. Sorry, I think we're playing phone tag.
Yes, I think so.
How's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
Wonderful. Hey, I know that I'm supposed to call you about the property on Hazelton.
Mm-hmm.
I can't help but think of Frozen. Do you have kids? They ever watch Frozen?
I have kids, but I have all boys, and they were not the Frozen.
Aw, man.
They were a little bit older too.
Oh,
Than
okay.
Frozen.
On there, they're like Weaselton, and that's just what I can't help but think about when I read Hazelton. But
Hazelton.
yes, yes.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Well, this house is gorgeous. I was taking a look at it. It's right by my house, actually, over by McClintock and Guad.
Uh-huh.
Man, are you? So I'm both an agent and an investor, and
Okay.
I know that this market is kicking my butt. Is it kicking your butt too?
Well, I think it's kicking everybody's butt.
Yes, yeah, no butt
Yeah.
left behind for sure.
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
Well, like I said, I'm both an agent and investor. And have you started getting those weird offers that are creative where people want to take over the mortgage?
Yeah, we've gotten them from the beginning, I feel like.
Oh, from the beginning?
Yeah, even still, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
what interest rate do your sellers have?
They don't want me to discuss anything about that stuff. They just, whatever is in MLS is what they want me to tell.
That
Yeah.
makes sense. That's excellent fiduciary right there. Okay, I get it. So again, I buy houses in two different ways. I either I either offer cash or I offer what's like a creative offer. But because I'm an investor, I need to cash flow. Do you know if there's any way that I can send you, if I can send you an offer where I can still cash flow, do you think based on what the limited information you might have that they would consider selling it to me with some of those creative terms if I was to give them the price they were looking for?
Yeah, we've gotten a few of the creative terms and they don't want to do that.
Do you know why that might be?
Yeah, they just don't want to be stuck in anything like that. They just want to move forward.
Got it. So they're just trying to like take their equity and run.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's okay. And especially with a property like this in the fives in that area, I actually would have thought it would have sold by now, especially where it's at. So we sold one just down the street in the sixes, and that took us a good, I think, 4 months before we sold it. So.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. No, that's true. Yeah, they just they don't want to do any. In fact, they didn't even say I'm giving them all offers, but they said get the creative financing ones that they don't want to look at those.
They don't even want to look at them.
No.
Well, that's okay. Well, I've been in the Arizona market and investing world for the last 4 years or so. Do you deal with any investors at all?
I deal with investors, and if I get something that is something that is like a flip or that kind of people, I give them a call. Or they're calling me a lot.
Well, so what's a girl got to do to get on your list to be your number one call?
You can. I will put you on my list. You will be my number one call. But
Yes.
I have to call a few people. But yes, I will call you first.
Awesome. I love ugly houses when they're original condition, or I've dealt a lot with like the senior space where maybe a senior is trying to transition into long-term care, and so we take some very we understand some specialties around that in case we have to put any sort of trust in place to help them pay for long-term care or however that looks. So just so you know, I run the gamut in terms of how we buy those properties. And then if you have any of those investors, maybe you pass on me, hopefully not, but they need money, we can also lend them money in case you're in that scenario. Have you done any flipping or investing?
No, I don't do flipping or investing. No.
Okay, you'll just leave that to me then.
Okay, we'll do that.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, cool. All right. Well, Connie, is there any other listing you might have that they might consider a creative offer on?
I don't. This is my only listing. The rest are rentals.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Do you have any buyers?
I do have buyers. Yes.
Okay, I have this amazing listing. I think it's amazing because I own it. It's over there on Mill Avenue, 4735 South Mill Ave. If you have a buyer for me, I will definitely have 3% for you.
Oh, okay, that's awesome. Okay, let me go ahead and I'll check that out. So you said it's on Mill and what, 4735?
4735, yeah, right off of Mill in the 60. And it's newly renovated. I own it with my siblings, ready to go, 3-bed, 2-bath. It's a townhouse, kind of like your Hazelton house. But yeah, it's ready to go. It's spanking clean.
Okay, perfect. Wait, and Hazelton is a single family home, actually.
Is it? Oh.
Yeah, it's no shared walls.
Oh, okay. It's a detached. Okay.
Yeah.
I think when I was flipping through the pictures, I confused myself. Okay.
Everybody thinks it is. It's interesting, but I can understand why, because you can't. They are close together, and when you look at it from afar, then yeah.
Well, and it has that patio backyard too.
Right. Exactly.
I think that's what got me. Yeah.
probably.
Okay, cool. Well, Connie,
Okay.
it's been a pleasure speaking with you. I hope I can buy some deals from you and maybe take you out to a little cafecito.
Oh, that would be great.
All right. Thank you, Connie.
Okay.
Have a great day.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
I gotta just say, I love agent to agent conversations because it's a totally different vibe, right? It feels like they're having like an inside baseball conversation, and it's disarming. And then Ingrid is so good too at like just being able to speak realtor talk, but then also put the investor hat on. And I don't know, from the outside listening in, I just think that it's such a incredible way to gain rapport and to be able to bring them over to the investing conversation immediately. Obviously, I'm not licensed, and so I can't play like that. So I have to kind of posture a little bit with confidence to create that. But it's really, really interesting and
It's only
amazing to
90
hear
hours
you do
from
that.
now.
Yeah, it's what?
It's only 90 hours.
Yeah, but it's also like $2,000.
You do know that I'm a wholesaler, right? I'm allergic to tests. Very good. That was
Thank
really
you.
good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, Ingrid.
Hi.
So obviously you have experience and you know when to transition, but how much are y'all pushing for the sub 2? Because a lot of times people are going to say, oh, they don't want it, they don't want it, they don't want it. They could have got a bad offer, or you guys have seen people say they don't want it, and then you teach them or tell them to do it. So when do you know when to just kind of be like, this is not going to happen, and just go for the relationship and go kind of the route you went?
Well, firstly, I'm always going for the relationship, period. So it's not a or, it's an and. But what she was saying that I heard her say is we got those offers right away and my sellers didn't want them. So I'm going to be on her team. So if I battle that, I'm not going to be on her team. So my goal was to be on her team when I'm talking to her, like get us on the same page, get us on the same side. So then I started talking about the market, like, oh, dang, this should have sold by now. So like I'm kind of empathizing with her pain because I actually would expect that this property would have sold by now. It's in great condition. So
Even if the seller is like, no, I don't want it. You're not like, do they know? Because they probably won't really know Subto. They won't know creative finances, maybe. So how do you know when to dig deeper and say, why don't I educate them? That could be a good option.
I think I probably could have done a better job about getting a sense of whether or not she understood Subto enough. But I just didn't feel like it was worth that effort on the first call. My first call with her was like, how do I get Connie to call me first when there's an ugly house? How do I get Connie to go have some cafecito with me first, right? Like
What
I
is
want,
that, by the way?
Huh?
What do you
Coffee.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You know what cafecito is.
Cafecita means little coffee.
Yeah, little.
Little espressos?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the one where you put your pinky up.
So we can't forget what we're doing this for. It's beyond the deal. It's like the relationship. So I would put her in. I'm gonna text her right now and say, hey Connie, let me know if your sellers reconsider. I am a legit investor. I own 7 of these properties creative, 10 completely in my portfolio, so that you know you're dealing with a real investor.
You know, one of the things too, just the connection just came into my mind. She's getting these creative offers right out the gate, right? Motivation is low of the sellers to even look or even take one of those offers. And so, of course, early in the listing, they're going to refuse. And they tell her, we don't want to see it. Well, we're down the line now. Maybe they've changed their mind, right? And it could be an opportunity for her to revisit.
Right.
Hey, you know, I know we got these right in the beginning of our listing. Now it's been a little bit of time. And the fact that you're a licensed agent, if she was at all unsure because they're investor offers and they're like, I don't know who these investors are, they could be sharks, but here's a licensed agent who's a fiduciary who's bound to a code of ethics. Maybe it's safer. Like we can have a safe conversation with her because she's licensed, and she might be able to.
And it was a line I used.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I wanted to do that for you. It's what great fiduciary that you wouldn't want to tell me the interest rate that's on this loan.
Right.
Forget about the fact that I'm about to go look at it and and find out myself. But Yes, you're absolutely right. That's why I felt with her I needed to create a relationship first.
Yeah.
Before I then slid
Slide
in there
in
and be
and
like,
do it.
you, I'm gonna show you my offer anyway. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so neat.
Yeah, that's a great question on the creative thing. The other thing is there's little things that pop up in these conversations that we who have been on the calls a bunch will pick up very quickly, and then we deviate away from them. So it's kind of like when you hear there's a pain point, you don't punch harder on the pain. Sometimes you back off to show them that you're aware and that you're a real person. So one way I could have, Ingrid could have done this is this agent says, no, my client doesn't want to discuss the interest rate with you, which is what she said, just different words, right?
Friendlier.
She says, what's the interest rate? Curiously, perfectly, great tone, just genuinely curious, right? Oh my gosh, what's the interest rate? My client doesn't want me to talk to people about those things. Okay, cool, no problem. Let's go build a relationship somewhere else. That's one way of doing it. If I pushed on that and said, why? I could do that. And I do that sometimes. And I do that sometimes to experiment and see what happens. Because I could just watch YouTube and I could just watch videos, or I could just experiment and see what happens and see which way I and my personality wants to go. When you're in these calls, you'll start kind of picking up what you want to do and what your desire is. Everybody here obviously has a different flow, right? Which means there's no right way, it's just the way that you want to do it. And I think I know she did an absolute perfect job of just going, cool, if this ends up being a deal, I'm gonna build this lady's trust so that she will then tell me. So have we all been on calls, Casey, Matthew, Ingrid, Jamil, where the agent says, I don't have the ability to tell you what's going on.
Of course.
Regardless of a creative offer. Forget about this. By the way, this happens all the time on cash. Well, what's going on with the seller? Why are they selling? That's really none of your business. You'll hear that. Okay?
Sometimes I'll ask them to represent me, and they'll say, sure, and I'll say, what's her highest offer?
Yeah.
And they'll say, I can't tell you that. And I'm like, dang.
So you'll get it regardless of creative. You'll get it on a lot of cash stuff. And they'll say, I can't really tell you why my client's moving. Why does that have anything to do with anything? My answer is like, well, because I'd like to know if they're moving to another state because of a job relocation. I'd like to know when they need to close escrow so that I can turn down other projects I'm looking at, focus on deploying my capital into this one based on the timeline that makes sense for your client. So you'll give them a logical answer to overcome their logical question, but it's really a defense question of saying, I don't trust you yet. And you're trying to take me in the back seat of your car and make out with me. Okay, so some of these questions, these people, believe it or not, these people have trust issues. Their husbands cheated on them. Their partner has backstabbed them. They've lost out on deals before. They have trauma from their childhood that shows up on these calls that has nothing to do with you.
Yep.
Okay, and by the way, do we all have some of that baggage as well?
Of course.
And we show up a certain way as well? So Ingrid noticed this lady has a little bit of like, hey, I'm sore there, don't touch me there. Right, you ever gotten a massage before, Adam? Yes or no? Okay, have they ever asked you like, hey, are you sore anywhere before I get started? Okay, and you tell them, like, yeah, actually I'm really sore here, I banged up my arm or whatever else. Ingrid found out that this agent is really sore right here, and so Ingrid has avoided that area to build the trust and then ease into it. And I think that there's a match. She goes into another call, the next call, and she runs into a different personality that literally says the same thing. She will react differently based on that person's personality. So really, at the end of the day, this game is what Ingrid just said, which is, I'm just trying to collect friends. How do I want to be treated in these situations? And I think we can all adapt, you know. By the way, my call went, I don't know, how good did our call go, Jade?
It was amazing.
Really? I had to speak Spanish the whole freaking time. It was crazy.
Get out of here.
What?
That's why you were talking cafecito.
Yeah, exactly.
Not Korean?
No.
It was Spanish. I'm getting pretty good.
Yeah?
No.
Háblame.
Horrible.
Oh.
It was all English. I'm kidding.
Oh, dang.
So how'd it go?
I'm so gullible.
It went really, really well. The seller flat out asked she very hostile. She needed me to know how horrible her ex-husband is. She needed me to know that. And so what do you do in that moment? You just
Listen. Yeah.
And you go, hey, I totally get that. And the last line I told her, I said, hey, you're going to get through this just like you've gotten through everything else. And she about teared up.
Oh my goodness.
So she's got kids. She has a restraining order against her husband.
Wow.
You guys hear the story about bunnies, right? These are the situations we're looking for. So I opened up the call and I said, hey, let me set the intention for the call. I don't want to close the deal today. I'm going to give you information to let you know that I want to be a backup offer for you. I hope you sell this house for cash and you make all the money. And I hope you never have to call me again. When's your foreclosure date? June 6th. Cool. I will let you know that it would be really helpful for us is if you tell us yes or no by June 2nd. We can still make a deal work. Call went really well. You could tell Skylar sitting there going, oh my gosh, I am a licensed agent and I have no idea what's going on right now. She's super smart, but she's been an agent for 2 weeks.
Wait, that's how new she was?
Yeah, she's like brand new. This is her first listing. Is the craziest. It's a short sale foreclosure Subto deal.
Awesome. Trial by fire.
Yeah, like, would you want it any other way? Honestly, like, do you want layups in your life or do you want the challenging stuff?
That's so fun.
So, question she asked in a very hostile manner was, I hear you saying all these things, but what assurances, what promises can you give me?
Ooh.
And how do you back it up?
For what? Like that she
So
won't...
the first one is like, it's the most ironic thing when somebody in foreclosure that is 6 weeks away from losing their home
promises
says, what happens if you don't make my payment?
That was her first question.
That was literally her first question. So I said, you're not going to like this answer. And I'll give you the answer you want, but first I'm going to give you the answer you don't want. Which is, we're in the same place you're in right now.
Pace, did you record this call?
Yes.
I'm just kidding.
We're in. Oh yeah. That's a question I get all the time.
I was giving him.
So I say we'll be in the same place you're in right now. Well, that doesn't make me feel great. Perfect. Well, I'm just giving you a logical answer to your logical question. Do you want to hear the other layers of assurance? So I went through them. And at the end, she's like, "Oh crap." All right, yeah, basically the seller in that 3 or 4 minute portion of the call was like, there's no reason I should not be doing this deal.
Right.
You're gonna rebuild my credit? She said, I don't wanna have anything to do with this man. Is my name gonna be tied to this house? And I said, yes and no. We are gonna remove your name from public record.
Right, can you take the deed?
I'm going to take your name off public record so nobody will see that you're tied to this man. However, if I were you, I would not want your name off the mortgage because that's how I'm going to rebuild your credit. So while emotionally it's not a great feeling, your future self will thank you for making this decision and allowing me to rebuild your credit.
When you said that too,
Better write that down, y'all.
it kind of calmed her aggression down.
Yeah. And so that was a really aggressive part of the call. The second aggressive part of the call was, how does this benefit you?
Okay, good, yeah.
And I said, great question. That's the question that most of my sellers that sign with me ask. And I said, tax benefits. Even if this house did not cash flow, it will save me $100,000 on my taxes this year alone. So I got 100,000 ways it benefits me. Another way it benefits me is it might cash flow at some point. Another way it benefits me is when I sell this thing in 4, 5, 6, 7 years, I might make $80,000, $100,000 that I roll into something else. That's another way it benefits me. Another way this benefits me is I don't have to go through a bank and get a 7.25% and put 30% down and go through the thing. I can buy 10 of these and help 10 families just like yours in the same time frame. I could have gone on the MLS and put 30% down and got 7.25%. And she's like, and I go, so once you understand this, you might want to ask the question of why wouldn't a real estate investor want to do this kind of thing? So she's like, she went from I don't want to have anything to do with this to I want to do this. let's see if my ex-husband is game for it. And
So how do you navigate that talking to the husband now? Like, do you have to jump on a Zoom with him too? Is that, okay.
Yeah. I get to practice on the husband. And at the end of the day, even if the deal doesn't work out, which I'm 99% sure it will, do I care if the deal is going to work out or not?
No.
Or do I just want the practice? Even me, I want the practice. I want to talk to the angriest son of a gun on the planet. This guy has a restraining order against him and his kids are not allowed to see him, and he's not allowed to talk to his ex-wife. So what does that tell you? Is this a pretty stable human being?
No.
Do I want to talk to only stable human beings?
No.
No, I want to be good with everybody. And I told her, I said, look, I understand your situation, and if I can ease the stress that you're going through by me taking a little bit of that heat from him, let me do that. Happy to do that. She's just like, oh my gosh, this is so great. And I don't have to make a decision right now. Another point of contention that was brought up was, well, how do I know everything you're telling me is going to be done the right way, because this is a lot of this? And I said, amazing. Let me tell you, you actually have 2 opportunities to not sign with me. Opportunity number 1 is you sign what's called the purchase and sale agreement. And before you sign it, it says everything that we agreed to. And you can point out my spelling errors, tell us that we missed a comma. You can throw it through ChatGPT and say, is everything in here that I was promised? Great. If it is, then sign. We then take that, we go to a title company that is hired by us, not by me and not by you, but by us. Their job is to duplicate the closing documents that you then have to approve.
Right.
You could still walk away, even all the way up until June 2nd. And she's like, wow, okay. So then she's basically telling Skylar, the agent that you talked to, go talk to my ex-husband, let's see if we can get this deal done. So it's a good call. But you're gonna get that kind of stuff.
She'd be an amazing testimonial.
She'd be
You
awesome.
get a deal like that done with a woman in that kind of a situation who's obviously dealing with a lot of trauma and things in her own life. Getting that across the line and saving this situation is phenomenal, man.
Yeah.
What a cool thing.
You know what's interesting is I would say the hardest part about this business is uncertainty.
Yeah.
Okay, so most people that have 9-to-5 jobs, why do people get stuck in a 9-to-5 job? Certainty. I show up. Hell, most of the time you don't even have to do your job that great. Honestly, most of the people in your guys' office are total knuckleheads and they still get a freaking paycheck. So there's certainty in just sitting in a desk for 2 weeks and a check's going to magically appear. And what it does is certainty is a drug. What entrepreneurs have to learn how to do is find the certainty in the uncertain. And what do I mean by that? Well, you saw a call where I don't want you to know my agent's, or I don't want you to know my seller's interest rate. And then you've got the next call, which is, let's get this deal done. Okay? You have to base your whole life as an entrepreneur off KPIs. Does everybody know what a KPI is? Who does not know what a KPI is? Okay, key performance indicator. It's this really stupid acronym. It basically is a measurement for success. If I do this X amount of times, then this will happen. Even if I'm atrocious at this business, if I do this thing X amount of times, I will make money. So here's the equation, just real quick. I know we got a call 10 minutes ago, right?
More than. Yeah, 10 minutes ago. 10 minutes ago. It's okay. It's in Rio Verde. Nobody's calling them.
Okay, cool.
Rio Verde's pretty.
Okay, so with this, you guys saw the appointments being made, right? So let's say that we send out 100. Let's say we send out 400 LOIs.
We can't hear you, just FYI.
Yeah. There it goes. Sorry. I must have bumped it. Okay. So let's say we send out 400 LOIs. Out of those 400 LOIs, we talk to 120 agents. Out of those 120 agents, we set, let's say, 60 appointments. Out of those 60 appointments, I know that probably 40 of them are actually going to answer. Out of those 40 that I talk to, I'm going to build a relationship with 7 of them that I'll do a future deal. Right? There's KPIs that I already know. Every time I send out 400 LOIs, this is exactly what happens every single time. I get 7 new agent relationships, okay, like the lady that Ingrid just spoke to, and she'll send us a flip next week. We just bought, literally right now my team is texting me going, there's a deal in your inbox to buy 10 houses that my team's gonna make $500,000 on from an agent that we originally called through an LOI that said no to the house that we originally called them about. Is following me? Yeah. So what people are missing out on is the 7 agents is future business. I know this to be a scientific fact because I do it so much. It is a certainty. But when you are in the 9 to 5 mentality of, wait, hold on, if I show up at who has a 9 to 5 job, you show up and you get paid. You, my friends, will have the hardest time transitioning into entrepreneurship, not because of the tasks, but because of the mindset. Because if I just sit in my chair all day long today, there's nobody going to hand me a paycheck. I have to go create that certainty, correct?
Yep.
Okay, so I'll get 7 agents. I'll get a whole bunch of stuff out of this, which we could talk about later, but the main thing that I know is that out of every 40 calls that I personally make, I will get 2 contracts. I already know that. That's a certainty. Why is that a certainty? Because this week it might be 2 out of 40, next week it might be 4 out of 40, the next week it might be 1 out of 40, but it averages out to 2 out of 40. I make 40 calls, I'm getting 2 contracts. I then also know that every contract I get, I average $15,000, which tells me if I send 400 LOIs and I just go down the thing, I have the ability to generate $30,000 in income. That is where certainty comes in this particular strategy we're talking about. It's very simple, and you're watching it happen right now. You watch where the LOIs went, you guys set the appointments. Some of these people don't even want to talk to us, and we will still convert them. Why? Because it's a scientific mathematical equation. It is impossible for you not to make money by doing this. Impossible. If we sat here for 2-3 hours every single day, we're generating $60,000 a week. Easy. Okay? And a lot of our time that we're doing these calls, we're actually not making a lot of calls. What are we doing? We're making a call, and then we're teaching you guys what happened on that call. We could do all of this, generate $30,000 to $60,000 in a week in probably 45 minutes of calls every day. If I didn't have a room, I could do 3 calls Monday, 3 calls Tuesday, 3 calls Wednesday, and make $30,000 a week. That's how certain this business really is. Was that worth going 10 minutes over? Yes. Okay, whose call? Okay. I got a guy named Richard Nixon.
Get out of here.
At 5:45, yeah.
Is he a dick?
I don't know. Oh, yeah. Maybe.
What he is not is a crook.
Oh, I love old people jokes.
Wow. Thanks, Ingrid. Jeez Louise, I was trying to be nice.
Well, yes. I mean, I was with you right there.
Hello, this is Cindy.
Hi, Cindy. How you doing? Jamil here.
Hello there.
Hi. I was supposed to call you 10 minutes ago, but oddly enough, I've had somebody call on one of my other houses, and it's like no one wants to talk to you these days for real estate because it's so dead out there. So I had to finish that phone call. So anyhow, yeah, I had to do the thing. But I'm calling on Forrest, and I just wanted to get some details on it. I know it's actually been on the market for a while. I dove into it a little bit. I looked at the pricing on it. I don't think you're super off. But help me understand what's been going on with the listing, because I know Rio Verde a little bit. It's a nice area to visit. I have to, just so you know my intentions, I'm trying to buy a couple of properties within the next 60 days for taxes, and so I have to make a purchase, but I'm trying to figure out what's going to make the most sense for me. So catch me up to speed with.
Are you doing a 1031 or what are you?
No, I possibly doing a 1031, but I have. I got to get a cost seg study done, and I got to kind of group some houses together so I can get some depreciation.
Okay. Well, this area, first and foremost, is a 55 and older community. Are you aware of that?
I am aware, yes.
Okay. We are, about 15 minutes from Fountain Hills.
Mm-hmm.
And Rio Verde has 2 golf courses. Tonto Verde has 2 golf courses. And, I mean, it's simply an amazing area to live in. It is, but you are 15 minutes from grocery shopping.
Right.
So, that we have a lot of demand for rentals, but we have no rentals.
Right.
We have very, very few rentals, I should say.
I actually noticed that on the listing, because it looks like the listing description is speaking to a potential tenant, but it does also show a price for sale. So are you basically co-marketing it right now for a potential like seasonal rental? If somebody comes in and rents it, then they'll take that? Or are you?
Well, that's not his first choice.
Okay.
But he would do that. He truly wants to sell it all. He only bought this about a year and a half ago, and the problem is he bought it because his son was going to ASU.
Okay.
And then his son started at ASU, and he didn't like it, and he transferred to Wisconsin.
Oh my God,
So-
that is a far place for him to buy a condo for his son going to ASU. It must have taken him forever.
No, it wasn't for his son.
Oh,
It
okay.
was so they could come down and visit while his son was here.
Got it. That's nice,
Yeah.
Dad. Nice parents.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
But anyway, it didn't work out, so they don't seem to come down, and so that was the end of that. So he said, let's go ahead and sell it. But I have to tell you, we are shocked that it hasn't sold. I mean, it's the lowest priced property here. It is absolutely adorable, fully furnished. Everything goes with it.
Yep.
And honestly, the only negative is that when you are on your back patio, there's not a little wall around it, so you don't have a lot of privacy there. They just put a couple more plants in. But you can hear the road traffic from Forest Road.
Yep.
Which, for rentals, they don't care. But, for if you're buying, there are people that would bother.
I totally get it. I flip houses, and so when I typically stay away from properties on main roads for that reason, because when you're selling, it gets a little bit more difficult. You get the picky buyer. It just does, yeah. And what I've actually found is being on a main road, even though if you talk to appraisers, they all kind of differ on what they will discount a property for being on a major street, but buyers tend to be the establishers of value. And I've seen properties get knocked 20% for being on main roads, which is like crazy to me. But okay, let's kind of get down to brass tacks on this one. I'm actually not shocked that it hasn't sold. Not because it's not a beautiful house. This market is terrible. I mean, I haven't seen anything like this before. I've been in real estate over 20 years, and I went through 2008, and I still had activity in 2007 and 2008. And right now, it's gone to a complete halt. Like it's wild to me. Is it this? Are you seeing the same thing?
I feel the same way. Because we were here in 2008, the same thing, and I started my business. I actually bought our first lot here in 2003, but I started in 2005. So I agree with you.
Yeah.
It's unusual. It's like everybody's stalemated. The buyers can't make a decision. They don't even know what they want, and they're so afraid to write an offer. It's unbelievable.
So what I think is going to end up happening here is two things. Where you're either going to have to, if the seller is like hell bent on selling this, which it sounds like he just wants to kind of cash out and go, he's either going to have to work with an investor who's going to give you a cash offer that's going to be low, which maybe you've seen already, or they could do something creative. Now I've seen that work well in a market like this, and I've done a few deals over the last couple of months with like seller financing, creative financing in place, which allows the property to trade at the right price. It actually also helps with taxes and a lot of other things. But I wanted to know, have you guys been presented with anything like that? Have you talked to your seller about maybe doing some kind of an owner finance situation here to move this?
You know what? He would have to know how much you put down and what kind of interest rate that you would want to pay.
Does he own this outright?
Pardon me?
Does he own it outright? Is there a mortgage on there?
Let me think if he does or not. I think he does.
Okay.
I think he did pay cash.
Okay.
The thing is with Brian, he is an investor. I mean, he he has owned many properties.
Okay.
So he is not foreign to seller financing.
Amazing. So it's gonna really just be about the numbers to him. Here's what I can say. I can make it make sense for him as an investor because I'm not necessarily interested so much in price. I'm interested in the things I talked to you about already, right? I want to get the depreciation, so I really don't want to beat you up on price because if I beat you up on price, I'm going to get less to depreciate. So for me, I'm okay at the number, but I want terms. And since he owns this outright, I could put together an owner financing scenario that will get him his price, but also make sense for me to hold this thing as a rental.
Okay.
Would
How
you?
do you, when you, are you a licensed realtor?
I'm not, but I'm surrounded by them, unfortunately. I'm just kidding. My sister's an agent. Best friends are agents. I love real estate agents. I'm just playing.
Well, no, the only reason I ask is, would you present the offer on a real estate contract, or do you do?
Oh yeah. Well, what would be even better would be if you would represent me, because that way we've got less of the telephone game being played. You know, maybe your investors will be kind and kick you a little bit of an extra bonus for having to listen to this knucklehead as well as him. And so if you could kind of bridge the gap for us and we could make a nice little cozy deal here, then I think that makes the most sense. I hate getting extra people involved in a conversation unless it's completely necessary.
Yeah, I know. I do a lot of both sides here.
Good.
But I will also tell you that and I'm very, very fair with the sellers because I feel like I discount real estate commission when I do both. I just do.
Awesome. That's great of you. Okay, so this actually could be even better for him, right? So instead of having to pay a 6% with a buyer's rep, we work together. Maybe you discount it to a point, whatever. I'm not going to tell you how to do your business. You guys work that out. But my thoughts are, I'm gonna give you a couple scenarios. But if I gave you a nice down payment, or even if here could be a way that this works. He's asking, what, $392, is that right?
That's correct.
I love to kind of prepay my interest. And why that is beneficial to me is, again, the tax things, right? If I have a little bit of a higher purchase price on this, I can depreciate more. For him, if he does this over time, then he's not gonna have to pay the tax man all at once. And so, what if I did something where instead of it being $392, I do something like $420, but I do 0% interest. So I basically bake the interest into the purchase price. And then that way, he takes it over time. He doesn't have to pay all that to the IRS. I get my depreciation. He gets better than the number he was wanting, and everybody wins.
But then how many years does he carry it?
Well, I'd love to do an amortization over 30 if possible, but maybe we do like a 15-year balloon.
Okay, and then 15-year balloon. What if you cash out in 5 years?
Then I got to pay him the 420.
You know what I should do? This guy is incredibly savvy.
Okay.
He really is good. And, and he's done many, many, many deals. So I will call him, tell him what you're proposing.
Okay.
I might even have him call you directly.
Perfect. Let's, in fact, we could all hop on a Zoom so he can see who I am, and we can all kind of acquaint ourselves with each other. But especially given with what's happening in the market, this makes sense, right? And if he wants to just get this thing done with, then it could be the real ticket here. And if not, at least you and I met.
Yeah. Now, the other part of it is that when you're proposing this kind of thing, you've got a purchase price. What kind of down are you talking about?
Negotiable, right? As the buyer, I want it to be as little as possible. As his agent and as the seller, he's going to want it to be as much as possible. So we'll meet somewhere in the middle.
You're right. Oh, I love it. So where are you located, by the way?
I'm here. I live in Arcadia. I'm in Tempe at the moment. I just have
How's Arcadia business?
It's
Is it bad there?
terrible. It's terrible everywhere in this city right now. It's just madness.
Even understand it. I know.
It's
just
madness. Part of me just wants to like pack it all up and just, go on vacation for the next 2 years. I don't know.
I know. That's what we said. Is that we got to get, we got to get the world back into order. And
where are people living? What's happening right now? It doesn't make any sense.
No, and I don't know what your political bias is or anything, but out in this community, it's a very conservative community, so that everybody loves Trump and they love what he's doing, but they're all now scared to death because of we got a lot of Canadian people.
Yes.
So they're all mad at us. And,
oh my God.
It's just awful.
It's awful. It's awful. I'm conservative, but also funny enough, grew up in Canada, and so I've got Canadian family who are mad at me right now.
I know.
And I'm like, what are you mad at me for? I didn't do anything to you.
Americans, I know.
But it is what it is, I'm just like, come on, guys, we're all the same. Let's have a good day, and send me some poutine in the mail.
Great, yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. This is what I would really love if you wouldn't mind. Could you shoot me just a quick email?
Easy, yeah. How about a text message?
Recaps what we're talking about, and then I will get Brian on the line and say this is the proposal, and go from there.
Okay.
And I think he, who knows? Maybe he'll say let's do it.
Yeah, you never know unless you ask, right?
No, you don't know. You
Now,
just don't know.
one last thing for you, since it's been,
I want to tell you one more thing.
Sure.
Minimum of 1 month rental. You can in our HOA.
Okay.
You
So can't do
you
short terms.
No, you can't do the VRBO. Every week. It's got to have a minimum of 1 month.
Got it. That's okay. I'm not a big short term rental guy anyway, so it's not a concern for me. Okay, let's do that, Cindy. I love this. Before I let you go, any other listings or anything else that I can maybe take a look at to see if you and I could hit 1 or 2 out of the park here? And you've been a really friendly person. If I could get both of my houses done with one person, that would save me a lot of brain damage.
Well, I will tell you, I've got a couple of properties that are gorgeous, but what's your price tolerance? So I've got ones that are, let me tell you, it is gorgeous, but it's $195.
And where is it?
In Tonto.
And will they do play terms with me as well?
They might. I can certainly ask. They've already moved. They're in a townhouse.
I love it when they move, because now the house is just sitting vacant.
And it's still furnished.
Wow. Can you can I get the address?
Yeah. Oh gosh, I'm not gonna remember it. It's 187. I think it's 18741. Here, I can look it up on my phone, but it's Ironwood.
Okay.
And has a pool. It is absolutely gorgeous. Anyway, it's fabulous. Now, I'm going to tell you something that might be really good for you. These people have already moved. They're going to do a big remodel on their townhouse, so they want to move a lot of furniture back into the house. So in other words, if they closed, they wouldn't mind closing in September.
Okay.
Which would be better for you because you're not going to get a rental here during the summer.
No. So they want to contract now, close in September.
Probably.
So that way they understand, they know they've got a deal, they got a deposit in place, they can start working on their remodel. Basically, they want to cash in their peace of mind right now and carry on and do the thing that they want to do. Okay, and they do want to take the furniture and put it in their new home, or they want to leave the furniture behind?
No, they want to leave it. It's beautiful.
Okay. All right, I'm going to look at this as well and let you know what my thoughts are on that. But this has been amazing, Cindy. Let's chat tomorrow. I'm going to send you an email on both. Obviously, it started with Forest, but let's see what we can get done with Iron as well.
All right, good.
Okay.
And it's Ironwood Circle, by the way.
Ironwood Circle. Thank you so much. Hey, have a great day.
You too.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye. Hey.
That was a literal perfect call. And do you see how he built all the rapport up front? And she disengaged. He started out by saying the market's so tough, these houses aren't moving. Oh my gosh, literally, this is an hour-long Zoom. I could go through and pause your call every 30 seconds and go, see what he did there? See what he did there? That was a masterclass. Great freaking job. Okay, I'm calling my agent 17 minutes late. I texted her and she saw my message, but she has not replied back to my text.
I love the Canadian thing too. That was
Yeah, that was
hilarious.
good.
This is Becky. Can I help you?
Hey, Becky, I just texted you. This is Pace. How you doing?
Hey, I'm good. Thanks.
Good. Hey, I'm calling about Kenwood Street. I'm not a licensed agent. I'm a real estate investor. I live about a mile away from there, and I'm looking for a house for my parents.
Oh, okay.
Perfect house, perfect location away from my property. Like, I don't want them living in my guest house. I want them living like a mile away, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Sure. I know you guys have only been on the market for 11 days. So what I want to do is potentially throw out an offer that you'll probably say no to, and then just to have me as like a backup offer.
Okay.
What I want to do is I want to do a seller finance deal, and 11 days on market, I already guarantee your seller is not interested in anything like that. So,
Well, just so you know, she can't do a seller finance deal because she is in a what do you call it? She already
divorce?
bought her new house. No. She already bought her new house, and they're using this house as collateral. So this house has to sell for her bridge loan. That's what I'm looking for. She has
Is
a
her
loan.
her bridge loan has already been funded. She needs to sell this one to get the cash.
Right.
Is it the full amount or is it just a chunk?
I don't know the specifics of the bridge loan because I wasn't involved in the new property.
Okay.
So I just know that the bridge loan exists.
Okay. What if okay, well, we already know we won't know the answer on this call, so maybe there's a follow-up call. If I put a significant down payment down that covers their bridge loan, can you ask them, hey, I've got a weird buyer that I don't have a time frame, by the way. I could wait 3 months. I could wait 4 months. I'm in no rush. And I know your sellers probably are not quite in a rush either.
Right.
So if I submit an offer with a large enough down payment that covers their bridge loan, and then you just sit on that offer until maybe the house sells for cash to somebody else, and maybe it doesn't, and you can just call me back when you guys potentially want to sell the house to me on seller finance.
Okay. All right. You can send it over.
Do you want to see if you can find out what the amount of money they need down before I send over an offer?
I can look. I'm actually at an appointment right now, so I don't have access.
Yeah, no
to
worries.
my
You could just text me later tonight or tomorrow.
Okay.
And then what I'll do is based on that, I'll submit an offer once you send me a text over, and I'll just say, hey, here's my down payment. And then you can hold on to that offer. I'll put like a expiration date on the offer for like 5 months.
Right. Okay. All right.
Sound
I'll
good?
get back to you. Okay. Sounds
Okay,
good.
thank you so much.
Thank you. You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay. So why did I go that route? Anybody know why I went that route?
Days on market.
11 days on market, brand new house. Okay, so if I'm 11 days on market, I already know I'm barking up the wrong tree on a perfectly beautiful house. So I'm going right in going, hey, I already know the answer is no. Can I be a backup offer? And so what I'm going to do is I then will submit an actual like offer, and it will be, what will that deal be, Matthew, if it's a large down payment?
Morby.
It'll be a Morby method. Who in here does not know what a Morby method is? Be honest, raise your hand. Higher, 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 higher. Okay, so who's got the next call? And that's in 5 minutes ago.
She's ready, but go ahead. You want to do that first?
That'll take 5 minutes, but I'll go really fast. Basically, what a Morby method is when a seller needs a large down payment, instead of having the seller carry or give a seller finance in the whole amount, what we do is we go to a company that will give us a DSCR loan. Okay, a DSCR loan means a rental loan, basically. And I go to a bank, the one I use is myinvestorloan.com, and I go, hey, I want to buy this house, and I want half the money. And that bank will give me half of the money of the purchase. So let's say they're selling it for $600,000, $559. I would go to myinvestorloan.com and I would get a loan from them for like $275. Half of the money that I need. So they bring 275 to the table. I'm keeping this very simple because Matthew's like, there's some extra steps he's not talking about. They give me the loan. Are they basing the loan on me or are they basing the loan on the house? On the house, right? Because they're going to look at how much I can rent it for. And so what I would do is I'd go to the seller and I'd say, hey seller, if I give you 275 up front, will you carry the other 275? So half the money comes from the bank, the DSCR loan. The other half comes from who? The seller. So you're in the deal with no money out of pocket. Does this make sense? And in a lot of ways, a lot of times you can get paid up front to do a Morby method deal. There's a few more steps involved, but when you have a seller that needs a large down payment, like this seller needs a large down payment. There's only 3 reasons why a seller will not sell to you on creative finance. Only 3 that I've ever found. Number 1, you've done a piss poor job explaining it to them. That's number 1. They're confused by it. They don't understand. You've done a bad job, and you did not find the actual pain. Okay. Number 2, the second reason why they will not sell to you is because they need the money. There is a literal significant reason they need the money right now. Okay. I've had a lot of sellers that go, no, I need the money for the next house. And I've proven them wrong. They don't always need the money. They think they need the money. So I'll ask them all the time, okay, well, what do they need the down payment for? Why does her seller need the money from this transaction? Okay, which means what? It means the family moved out of the house. Guess what they now have?
2 mortgages.
They actually have 3.
Time bomb. Yeah.
You know what they have? They have the mortgage that they paid for on the first house, okay, plus a down payment that they borrowed, which is their bridge loan. Okay, so they have 2 chunks of money. They bought this next house that they're living in with a mortgage. They needed a bridge loan for the down payment because they didn't have the cash. So they borrowed that on a hard money loan. So they have 2 payments on the existing house they're living in. And they have a vacant home in Mesa at a $559,000 mark, which means their mortgage is probably between $2,000 and $4,000 depending on the interest rate. Are they happy campers right now? No, they're hemorrhaging. They're suffering. The market's slow right now, so I already know that the best option is to give her a full price offer at $559, let her sit on it, and wait till day 40, and I'll just follow up every 10 days, and that's how you get that deal done. You don't try and get this deal done on day 11, okay? Unless they're in foreclosure or unless they're behind their mortgage or there's something else. This one, they're going to be convinced until about day 45, day 50 that they're going to sell it on the market. So what I would do is I would submit an actual offer. I don't know what their bridge loan amount is, and neither does the agent. So the agent's going to find out. I'll send her a text. The reason she wasn't texting me back is because she's in an appointment, right? A lot of times when you guys are setting the appointments, the agents aren't like, oh, yeah, call me. I'll be sitting down at my desk. When you guys are setting the appointment, like, yeah, sure. Call me at that time. Is that right?
I can tell you the loan amount.
Well, how much is the loan amount?
$140,000.
On the loan that's on
the bridge.
Okay, cool. So I would go to my investor loan and go, hey, I want a loan for $240,000. Why? Because I will pay off their $140 and give them $100,000 in their pocket, and then they'll seller finance the remaining balance of the house. Does that make sense? I could probably explain it to you a little bit later, but I don't want to trip Casey up too much. Let's get on the next call.
Wait, but they'll sit on second? Because that's the second loan.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know the details.
Oh.
We'll have to find out. I'll call her back tomorrow.
Morbies are really cool, y'all. My buyer that I just closed with today made $250,000 buying a property. My company made 40 grand. These guys, these are incredible.
The Morby methods are one of the secret powers. I don't know, 9 years ago, I was like, why are people not doing this? These sellers need these down payments. I can't convince them otherwise. And I just started doing a bunch of them. And I started getting paid to buy rentals. And I was like, I feel like I'm doing something illegal. And then I got Sean St. Clair involved, and he's like, no, this is perfectly legal. Everything you're doing legal. And then when we launched Subto, I go, can you please tell me how I should be doing it better? And so there's a Morby method training you can go watch in the Subto Vault that's so incredibly good. But you can get paid to do, your buyer made $250,000 buying a property.
Yeah.
Yep. Still paying us $4 grand. Agent made 4.5%.
So dope.
Come on.
All right, Casey, you're up.
I got two of them. They're both ready to go. So you guys, I got a condo in Phoenix or in Chandler, or I got a expired listing in Missoula, Montana. Let's go there.
Can I call that one?
Yeah.
Are you calling? Oh, that one's is that your lead?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or no,
I
they gave it to me.
Oh,
I
we're
gave
going
it
to
to him.
Missoula,
Sorry, yeah.
Montana?
Oh yeah, they went everywhere. We've got Houston deals, we got Montana deals, yeah.
Cool.
You ready?
Casey, just call.
Okay.
He does buy in Montana.
All right, we'll go there.
I told him we'd go have these on.
But I'll move through quickly, make up some time.
Okay.
Hello.
Hey there, this is Casey. Sorry, we were playing a little bit of phone tag, but my other call actually ended sooner. So, you still good?
Perfect.
Okay, perfect.
How can I help you, Casey?
All right. So yeah, and maybe catch me up to speed. So I'm a buyer. I'm actually an investor, and I saw this property. It looked like it just expired. It looked like one of your old listings. This one here in Missoula. So did it actually? Do you want to just catch me up to speed? They just termed out, or did the seller decide not to sell?
Wait,
or?
sorry. Which property are we talking about?
Okay, this one is on Beverly, the 644 Beverly Ave.
Gotcha. I spoke to one of your coworkers, I think, correct?
Yep, that's exactly right.
Got it. So it's pending.
Oh, okay, pending. Oh, you guys, okay, so you guys pulled it. All right. Well, that's great news. So would you be, just curious, did you guys get a full price offer or pretty close?
It's a really nice offer, yeah.
Wow, because you guys were listed at, I'm just going to pull it right now. It looked like you guys are at 992. Wow. So that is phenomenal. Even in this market, that is great. Okay,
right.
I guess I can't see the new pictures. I'm looking at the old pictures, but okay.
Well,
So,
it's never been listed before, so you must be looking at the only pictures.
oh, okay. Well, granted, yeah. But I'm not an agent. I'm not looking on the MLS, but that's okay. So would it be appropriate if we could talk through kind of a backup offer?
We can. Here's what I'm curious about. So, I got this like totally random email, and it's like, here's an offer. And I don't understand how you make an offer on something totally sight unseen. And like, are you currently living in the Missoula area?
Yeah, so great question. So I actually grew up in Wyoming. I grew up in northern part, up in Sheridan, and I went to school up in Billings. And I buy across Wyoming and Montana. And, to be fully transparent, I do this so I can get in front of more agents just like you, and we can have a conversation like this to where we can see if this deal works.
I gotcha.
Right? And if not, honestly, I just love to make the connection, and maybe you could find me something else that more fits my buy box in Missoula. Or, I mean, do you just do Missoula, or do you do the surrounding areas?
Yeah, I do a couple different areas. I do like the Dillon area and whatnot. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Dillon's another wild one too. Anyway, I was just talking to a guy about
Yeah.
Dillon the other day, how tight that one is too. But
Yeah.
okay, well, so yeah, do you think it's worthwhile putting together the back? So to be transparent, I'm an investor. Our offer, so you guys sounds like a full price or close to full price conventional offer.
Yeah, we definitely got a nice offer. Hence why it went pending versus taking backups. And my seller is very elderly, so some of this is a little confusing for him. So I kind of try to minimize,
Yeah.
But what I don't understand is like, why? Like, I didn't open the link, right? Because it's like, that seems like a bad idea.
Yeah.
But you guys just blanket email people offers, and then like, not having seen it or been inside of it or whatever. Like and the idea being that then we call you back, and then you're like, great, let's form this. Like, can we put a backup offer in? Like, without even seeing it? I'm so confused by that. Like, why? What's the advantage?
Absolutely, great question. So, and to let you know a little bit more, right? We calculated that off of like the tax records or just some public data. That's how we come up with the numbers, right? To just see if it makes sense. But honestly, I think on this one, I think it's a better option is if we if this falls through, like maybe inspections or whatever's happening, like we can make a clean offer after it. And honestly, I'm not going to make a sight unseen offer, right? I'm going to get my partner or my contractor out to the house, and we're going to do a quick walkthrough before we buy it. But again, the whole point is I want to have this conversation and see if this one is a good fit, and if it's not this one, it's the next one. You know what I mean? Otherwise, I wouldn't meet you. And again, I don't know. We do a lot of deals. Go ahead.
Yeah. What other agents have you worked with in Missoula?
I actually have not. I'm an investor. I'll typically work directly with the agent. So, okay, let me give you a scenario of something you could help me with. So what I look for is like value add or properties I could fix and flip in Missoula. And this is exactly, so I'm going to give you like my buy box so you kind of can look for it. What I do is if you find something that needs work, right? I would love for you to bring those to me. I can bring my contractor out there. I can get a kind of a quote of what it's going to cost me.
Who's your contractor? Who do you use?
So I use Dakota Beartooth. Yeah, he owns Beartooth Construction.
In Missoula?
Yeah, he travels. He does all over Montana for me.
Oh, I've never heard of him. Okay.
Yep. But anyway, if you found a property that needed work, the way I'll structure it is we'll actually go in, do the work, and we can actually pay more for the property because we set it up as like a profit share on the back end with the seller.
I gotcha.
And then I would have you list it, right? And that's why, I mean, in almost all the other cities in Montana, I've got like a dedicated agent. I actually don't have one yet in Missoula, so I definitely like to love to talk further. But real easy to make it simple. On this, like say you brought me that deal, you would be able to list that house, and then we'd list it obviously at top dollar and obviously be a higher commission.
So interesting, huh? Got it.
You think I'm full of it, don't you?
Well, I just feel like I've done it long enough. I mean, I could be totally wrong. I think there's absolutely a market that works like this, and I think there are probably really good agents that would this would be a good fit for. I'm probably not your girl, unfortunately. So, I mean, but it's just, I don't know, just fascinated by it. It's very interesting approach, right? Like, because I would bet like a lot of those emails like that are just dismissed as spam.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to tell you the full truth. We send out a ton of them, right? I want to have conversations.
Okay, hold on. I got to tell you real quick, working with people as long as I have, every time someone has to say repeatedly to be transparent and I'm going to tell you the truth, it's like that makes me nervous. Like, why do you have to keep saying that? You know,
okay.
Like,
Good feedback. I'll work on it.
Yeah. I'm just, you fine. If this is what you do and you make lots of money, that's so great. I'm just saying, as a people person, right? You know, it's like if somebody's like, I'm not racist, I have black friends. You're like, why do you have to say that, right?
Yeah,
So,
I'm with you.
So I would appreciate if you were totally transparent and truthful with me. I'm more curious than anything. We probably aren't a good match, but I mean, it's an interesting concept what you're doing. So. Yeah,
totally. Well, I mean, so sounds like, where do you want to go from here? Would it be great if,
I think I'm just more curious, obviously you have success doing this because it's a formula that works in some areas, right?
Yep. Yeah, we do it. So we do it across Wyoming. I own about 250 units across Wyoming, and then we fix and flip across Wyoming and Montana.
I gotcha. Okay, interesting. Yep. What's your biggest barrier?
Man, you know what? Interest rates right now. And that's why we propose, I don't know, if you would have opened the link, you'd see we would have gave you like a cash offer, and then we give you like a creative offer where we take over the seller's loan. Or even better, the cleanest,
Oh, I gotcha. Okay. Got it.
And the even clean.
Okay, got it.
But a little bit more, even the cleaner way is if it's free and clear, because then we can structure it, so figure out terms with the seller. And a lot of times we help them with capital gains, and I don't know. I think it's an actual true win-win versus
fascinating.
This low ball cash offer.
I've heard of this. Yeah, I've heard of that before. Okay, gotcha.
Where'd you hear about it? Just curious.
No. I've heard of this approach before, right? Like of what you're talking about, where it's like, let me take it over. Like you're essentially creating like not a second ton of it, but like you're sub purchasing it through them, right? And then creating the terms, fixing it up as you go, and then obviously they're carrying whatever, whether it's the property itself on a loan that you're paying them monthly, whatever for it. You flip it, you get you make the interest, or not the interest, you make the gain on like them holding it essentially. You get to invest in it and flip it. I mean, it makes sense. That's an interesting way to do it.
Absolutely. Well, we should stay in touch because I know you early on. You probably thought we were just scamming, but truly we do business across Wyoming and Montana. So I would love to stay in touch.
I'm sure there's people that works for. That's interesting. I don't know. It's just an interesting approach. But yeah, I wish you good luck and thanks for the phone call. And that's cool. Good for you.
Okay. Well, great to chat. We'll be in touch.
All right.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
She reminded me of a date I went on once before.
Seriously?
Yeah, it was terrible. But it was just like that. It was just like these patronizing questions the entire time. Oh, very interesting, very interesting, very interesting, and super. But like she was. What I could tell about her was that she had set up a barrier in her mind that she wasn't interested in participating, but wanted to know the strategy. And so I honestly think that in time, she's phenomenal.
Gonna be amazing.
Yes. She'd be one of the most incredible agents to bring over into the...
1000%.
Because she knows, she's so sharp. That woman was like...
Her reticular activating system's gonna be looking for it.
That's what, And I would have went, if we had more time, I'd have went deeper, keeping going, but it's one I feel like I'll follow up, share, like, hey,
But she
look at our
gave you
website.
good feedback.
Yeah.
Because
I agree.
I'm with her. Like, that phrase
I like,
cringes me when I hear it.
Yep.
My team was messaging me right now, like, Matt, I'm so glad you don't do that anymore. I used to be a culprit, bro.
Really?
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah. No, honestly, I love it.
Yeah.
That was great.
I was hoping that when you said, where did you hear about that? I was hoping she was going to say, I saw this guy paste more.
I know, that's exactly why I asked it.
I think we were all hoping that.
Really? That's going to happen sometime between now and the end of the week. It's crazy. Every time we do this, it's like, I saw this guy paste Morby on YouTube. It's great. No, she's,
Oh, do you still have one? Go ahead.
Yeah, I actually called that lady when we were calling back there. I'm curious, did someone set the appointment?
Well, somebody had to, otherwise it wouldn't be called on.
That's so crazy. I spoke to her, and then someone else spoke to her too, but I couldn't set the appointment with her.
You couldn't?
Asking me all these questions I couldn't get around.
Ooh, who said it? Who said it?
Who set the appointment?
Yeah, you might have said it. From an email. She went back and forth on an email.
Oh, okay.
She said, can you please call me? I want to talk more.
See, her curiosity's gonna get her better. She wants to know. You gotta show her, Casey. You gotta show her.
Okay, so one of the best strategies to do with agents like that is put them in your CRM, and the next time you do a Montana or Wyoming deal, you send them, like right now, this lady Becky.
With the good hair?
Actually, I don't know. Becky Blair is the agent I was just talking to, the one that's like, my client has the loan, blah blah blah. And I said, hey, looks like the seller, took a loan from Knock, who does equity loans, second lien positions. And I said, hey, my structure I was thinking about might not work. Do you have something else? And she says, I know a lender you can get a normal loan with, LOL. I said, I do too, but who wants a 7.25% loan? She goes, so true. So like agents are funny. It's like in one breath they're saying, why don't you go get a regular loan? And the next breath they're like, yeah, you're right. Those rates are horrible.
in case you're an idiot, do this. Like, I'm not an idiot. Okay.
Do this. So what I would do with agents like this, again, this is a relationship business, right? So what do you do when you have an agent that just wants to learn the strategy that we're all doing? That's the only reason she got on the phone with Casey. Because even though he gave her the answer, she's like, but why? And but why? And but why? And but why, right? He gave her the answer multiple times. She just kept going, but why, but why, but why? So what do you do? What do you do long term? Because you can't handle, guys, you cannot be on a phone call with an agent longer than 6 minutes on average, unless it's going incredibly well, like Jamil's last call, and you got an agent that's like, let's go, let's go, let's go. Or if you're an absolute sociopath, meaning you don't know that the other person doesn't want to be on the phone with you. Does anybody want to be on a phone call longer than like 3 or 4 minutes? So why would we put an agent in that same situation? I try and get off the phone as fast as I possibly can for the most part until you get an agent that's like, whatever. So what do you do? What do you do in that situation with Casey's agent, my agent that I just talked to, who are very nice people that are actively doing business?
Yeah.
What do you do?
Invite them to a meetup.
You could do that. The best thing here's the best thing to do. Okay? I would take note of this. The best thing to do is they should go in your CRM as an active agent that you follow up with every 30 to 60 days. And when you follow up with them, you follow up with intention, which is, hey, I know we've spoken in the past. I just want to let you know I closed the deal with an agent. That agent got paid $14,000. I can't wait until we can do the same thing. And most of the time when I do that, I'm sending a video of myself saying, hey, I just closed a deal on, like, for example, we just bought 12 houses, okay? So I could take a screenshot of like this document that I signed, send it to every agent in my follow-up list and go, I just bought 12 houses and the agent that I did the deal with made $42,000 in commissions. I can't wait until you and I can do a deal together. That is the way you follow up with an agent like that. You don't just text them and go, do you have a deal for me? 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 You send them a really credible screenshot. Casey does do a lot of deals in Montana and Wyoming, and so it's very easy for him to go, and he doesn't have to say her name, just a really quick screenshot and a message saying, what's her name?
This one, or Annalise?
Okay, and it doesn't matter. I shouldn't even ask that question. You shouldn't even be addressing their name because you're going to be copying and pasting that same message to 25 agents that day.
That's what AI is for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess if you could program it to do that, for sure.
It does.
Okay, so who's next call?
Yeah. Yep, I can call her now too. I do 2 in a row.
Is that a
as soon as-
condo
That
in
was a
Mesa?
Yeah.
Or
You wanna s-
Arizona?
Yeah. You wanna s-
Bobby.
It's,
you
I'm
hear what
fine if you
Kay
guys
said?
want to skip it.
I'm 515.
Who has a 4:30?
I'm 515.
I have a 4.
Wait.
Let's see. I have a 4:45.
Oh, I have a 4:30.
Okay, let's call the 4:30.
Okay.
Let's try and catch up.
Okay.
I don't know if that's going to be possible.
Ooh, multifamily.
Is my call at 4:45 a full mobile home community?
It's like a mix. There's like 18 units I think are mobile homes, and then 5.
But it's the whole community.
It's that entire
Okay, got it.
You give that to Park. You give it to, he has enough.
That was just yesterday.
All right, David. I see you're cherry picking over here.
Right. Hold for me just 1 second, okay?
Sure.
It's a great day at Better Home and Garden. How can I help you?
Oh, I'm looking for Cass Stevens. Doesn't sound like I've got the right
Okay.
number.
Let me give you his cell phone.
Oh, okay. Hold on 1 second. Let me get a pen. All right, I'm ready.
602
Okay.
672
Okay.
3526.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Sorry.
Hello?
Hey, is this Cass?
Yes.
Cass, Jamil, I had an appointment to call you about 15 minutes ago. I apologize. My team gave me the wrong number. I ended up calling your office, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, calling on Stanley, a place in Tempe. You got a few minutes to chat?
Sure.
Okay, so I understand it's a package deal. Can you give me some details on it?
Well, we have like a marketing package, offer memorandum, and things like that we could always, email to you.
Sure. But
Were there specific questions that you had, though?
yeah, I'm. So here's my play. I have to make some purchases because I had an incredibly high tax bill last year. My accountant's telling me I need to do some buying this year to make sure that I don't put myself in the same spot. They told me to look at some multifamily. My team put this in front of me. I don't know if this is going to work specifically for me, if the cap rates are going to make sense. And so I just want to get an understanding on, how this has played out for your seller, what the NOI is, if there's any room for me to add value to this, or if this is kind of like super retail, basically just trying to understand its investment potential for myself.
Sure. So, maybe kind of like highlights, if you will. So it's 15 units.
Okay. Do you know the suite mix?
14 one-bedrooms and then a 5-bedroom house.
Okay.
So this is like an assemblage. It's a 4-unit, all one-bedrooms, another 4-unit, basically twins, all one-bedrooms. Then there's a single-family house. Then there's a separately owned single-family house that's in foreclosure. And then there's a 6-unit complex. So it's, if you will, it's not contiguous, but it could be. Someone could pick up the other unit with the foreclosure. And I have the seller's information, and I've met with him. So that's a possible, land banking play. The second thing is this is student housing.
Okay.
So, and this this is a long-term owner, local, self-manages. And the best way to describe the units are that they're all functional. They all rent out. His system has done very well for him, and is provided a really strong cash flow. But they're value add. All of them are essentially the market for them is male young ASU students.
Got it. Okay, so
the leases expire at the end of July. So so there's a lot of different plays. Someone can either, keep the student housing and tweak it, and because I think with some basic kind of value add, make it more of a community. There's quite a bit of potential that way.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's also in an opportunity zone. I don't know what you do or don't know about opportunity zones, and so you brought up taxes.
Mm-hmm. Enlighten me a little bit, because I'm a little vague on that, but I'd love to learn. I'd love to know more.
So what I would tell you is that the simplest way to think of it is someone that is looking at ways to either invest a lot of money into a complex where they're going to hold it long term, and eventually be able to, if they held it for 10 years, they could actually sell it with no capital gains. So that's one of the most attractive parts of it.
Okay, so the incentive for the tax break is to incentivize investment and hold the investment for 10 years in the community.
Yes.
Okay, understood. And then in return I get to sell that for no taxes in 10 years.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. The other thing is it's advantageous for people that have a 1031 where they can roll their gains into this, and then it's also incentivizing for people that, for example, might want to develop or add units.
So it's kind of like an exit play off of 1031. If I 1031 into it, then if I 1031 into an opportunity zone, then that selling on the opportunity zone in 10 years lets me release my funds without having to ever have paid taxes.
Correct. Yeah. So really,
okay. Thanks. You just put the light bulb on in my head.
Yeah, it's a unique tool.
Okay.
Now, the other thing I would tell you is just from to take it another step. If you've got a lot of ordinary income and you need ways to offset it. The other thing you can be looking at, which this complex would serve extremely well for, would be a cost segregation study.
Mm-hmm. That's what my accountant's talking about. So, accelerated depreciation. He's hoping Trump's going to give us a nice little boost back on the next, once he looks at things again, and maybe for 25, I won't get dinged as bad as I did for 24,
Well, yeah, and, really, in fact, too, if you think about it, you also, if you were to take advantage of those tools and also come in and, upgrade or do certain things to the complex in year one, then you're also increasing your adjusted basis.
Okay. Is there room to upgrade
that
and,
way.
and force appreciation at the price point? It feels a little high at like $233 a door for 15 units that are 1.1s. I don't know that there's an opportunity here to really increase that with an investment in, unless I'm missing something.
Yeah, so what I would say is that you'll see when we send over the package.
Okay.
So, like the single family, for example, we're breaking them all down now, and so they're all going to be available separately.
Okay.
But the best way to think of this would be that it makes sense for an investor that's looking at like forced appreciation or an assemblage, land banking, taking advantage of the valuable dirt of what it is.
Okay.
And then, but it wouldn't work for someone like I have a 16 unit that, the flip side to this, I have a 16 unit that we're pending on, we're going to close on next week. That's in West Downtown Phoenix. And, it's a similar kind of deal. It's like 7 buildings, duplexes and single families, but that's selling for a little over $100 a door.
That sounds pretty nice.
Well, it was on the market for months and months, just to kind of, so to give you some context, it was on the market for months and months, and we even had a highly attractive seller financing. And the bottom line is because there was where it's located, high vacancy.
Okay.
That basically really kind of dragged us down, and so we're closing next week.
Does it look solid on that deal? Do you think
it does?
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, we're looking gold on closing.
Well, you said a dirty word for me that's
twice before.
Okay. Okay. So
just
we're
to give you some context. So,
yeah.
So the Stanley, on the other hand, so Stanley's more of a play for
Any seller financing available on Stanley?
Yes. Yeah. So there's seller financing available, and there are no default terms.
Okay.
The best way to kind of couch it would be that if the price is right, then the kind of negotiation of some of the carryback terms, that's going to be easier for me to set the table. But
Understood.
I have to start with that. Yeah.
Okay. I love that because
client is probably willing to be flexible.
Sure.
And I think more flexible once he has something that's in front of them.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I've got a guy on my team who's really smart. His name is Bo. I'm gonna talk to him about this because he's much more intelligent than I am and sees the angles. I'll explain to him what you just said. So for your seller, what's more important is get me the right price and I'll play with terms. And as long as I can make that make sense for your seller, then it's a wide open conversation. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Cool.
would say that we're obviously having a discussion. There's certain terms where I'll know right away whether like someone says 5% down. No, that's not going to go anywhere. I mean, so there's going to have to be some kind of
Skin in the game. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, or
Okay.
but I've done a lot of creative deals in the past, and he's the kind of guy that is probably more open to something like that than a lot of clients I work with.
Okay, Cass, do you got any other projects or any other listings coming up? I'm going to look at this one and I'm going to present something for you. And do me a favor, Cass, if what I present to you is not, if you're reading it, you're like, this won't work. Just respond and help me a little bit because I'm playing in an asset class that's a little foreign to me. I'm a single family guy. Just to give you a little context, I've flipped thousands of single family homes. I don't do a lot of commercial, and I make a lot of active income in my flipping business. Now, I don't hold a lot, and that's been my detriment. And I am trying to solve that situation in the upcoming years. And so I'm bringing a ton of active income to the table. I'm bringing a lot of knowledge in real estate, but when it comes to this, I have to bring in friends and kind of partners to help me make sure I'm not messing it up. So if what I sent to you looks good, great, present it, and if not, then help me kind of tweak it so it makes sense for you. But in addition to that, what else do you have coming that could make sense for me to look at? Because maybe the Stanley Road one doesn't work, and maybe you got another one, or Stanley Place doesn't work, and you got another. So anything else coming?
But that's to be determined. I mean,
Okay.
there's a couple of different things kind of working on.
Okay.
Yeah, right now, just what the other things I have listed is I have a 4-unit that's on the other side of ASU, like
Okay.
over by Hayden Ferry.
You think
that
they'll do
one-
terms on that one too?
Yeah, that one's, it's possible. It's hard to say though. It'd
Okay.
have to be, in their case, it probably have to be short term. Stanley, I for sure have a carry back on it, and then the other building I have is in Coolidge, which I don't know if you're targeting Pinal County at all.
Not my favorite place.
That's not on
No.
the radar. I get it.
Yeah.
So yeah, and there's things I'm working on, but nothing I have is immediate. But
Okay.
yeah, I mean, let us know how we can get you more information. We've got an offer memorandum. That
Yeah,
gets
let's
pretty deep
get
in the
that.
weeds on demos.
Yeah, get me the OM. I'll give you my email. You want me to text it to you, or can you write it down?
Text it.
Okay.
If you can text me that along with just what your name is.
Yeah.
And then we'll get a package out to you by tomorrow morning latest.
Okay, great. And then probably by the end of, not tomorrow, but the end of the following day, Bo and I will have had an opportunity to kind of look at the offering memorandum, and then we'll present what we want to do as an offer for Stanley.
Sounds good.
Okay, brother. Thank you so much.
All right. Take care. Nice talking
See you,
to
buddy. Bye.
What kind of asset was that?
Multifamily.
big asset.
Fourplexes. Yeah,
Send it to Bo.
I'm gonna.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounded like Bo.
That guy did?
Do you guys know who Bo is? No. He's your underwriter. Every single day for 2 hours a day inside of Subto, Bo sounds like that. He's on my team full time. He underwrites every type of deal you guys can imagine. So if you guys ever run into a house, a multifamily, an opportunity zone, you bring it into that Zoom and go, Bo, what do I do? And he'll guide you through what to do. Okay? That's Monday through Friday, 2 hours every day. Literally, that might be Bo's cousin. all like commercial real estate agents, they kind of have that same vibe.
And do you know what I did on that? I kind of dumbed myself down.
Oh yeah,
right?
you killed it. So good.
I did it on purpose, though. I wanted to play the super duck on that so that I could I wanted to disarm them, get as much information as I could. Then I wanted to explain to them that I do know a little bit about what I'm talking about, but not that much. So bear with me, right? Because I'm trying to extract what I can, position myself, and then give myself lots of leeway on how I move forward with it. So that was why, if you guys were wondering, like, why is he playing coy, or why is he talking like that, like he doesn't know what he's doing? I did that on purpose. I did that so I could let that guy play the big shot a little bit, be the man on the phone, because sometimes people want to show you what they can do for you too, right? And I love that opportunity. I love when somebody is like, "Hey, let me win for you." Great, win for me, right? So that's kind of where I was going with that, just in case you had thoughts about it.
Okay, hold on. And manifesting seller financing. He loves seller financing, and they just find his way. You're in your.
I'm magnetized.
Wait, your chakra. Wait, what's the energy stuff they call?
The chakras.
The chakras. Okay.
My chakras are
I'm
wide
supposed
open.
to call right at 5, or she's gonna be mad at me, right?
Okay, get it.
Okay. You have me all nervous. I'm sorry. Because you're like, and she doesn't want creative. I'm like, why am I calling her?
She doesn't understand creative.
Yeah.
Yeah. And your vibe is her vibe.
All right.
All right.
A vibe of not understanding. Here we go. I was on time. I'm just saying. She said 5 on the dot. She's got a meeting at 5:20.
Can I help you?
Hi, is this Michelle?
Yes, it is.
Hi, Michelle. This is Ingrid.
Hi, Ingrid. How are you? You must be German or Norwegian.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna blow your pants off.
What?
I'm from South America.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm Colombian.
How freaking amazing is that? And you don't have an accent. Bummer.
I know, it is a bummer. But I've been here since I was 7 years old. So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I play with enough children that speak English, and I mean, I can try. Do you want me to? Would I sound more exotic?
I know, right?
Oh, okay.
No. Because
Ah.
I can do a good Texas accent, but I'm not gonna.
Oh, let me hear it. Come on.
No, y'all are just all good, and it's all fine if you want to do
Well,
it.
bless your heart. Okay.
Bless your heart.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's up, sister? What are you thinking? You know they won't carry, so what's up?
I want to know why they won't carry. I mean, this bad boy's been on the
But they
market
need-
for 300 days.
They're gonna rent it.
They should rent it. Why
they're-
aren't, I mean, it's
Game
pretty.
over.
Yeah. Well, if they don't want to worry about tenants, toilets, and termites, I'm your gal, but.
Well, they don't have that problem. I'll tell you what.
Mm-hmm.
So, that was my house 5 years ago.
Oh, okay. No wonder. Okay, you got good taste.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So we're pretty tight. I know how they stand.
Mm-hmm.
And so, they're super savvy. He's an engineer. She's a doctor. And, we've talked about it, and we can just put it, we can put it on the market when the season hits again, and
Mm-hmm.
people will buy it with tenants in it, and just move in when they can or not. But, we gave it a whirl, and we're going to give it a whirl through, I think, June.
Yeah.
And then we're done. Then we're done.
Yeah.
It's game over.
Right. Then it's a whirlwind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
Yeah.
then you obviously know the market. I mean, that's our peak, right? We're supposed to be selling deals right now. I don't know what the heck is happening.
I've been in it 43 years.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. You don't sound a day over 25. What's happening here?
Aren't you adorable?
Is that
I'm
the Texas?
63.
Oh, wow. Really? No, I'm not. I'm being legit. Okay. That's amazing.
Yeah. No, that's very sweet. No, I've just, you gotta get to know your client and,
Mm-hmm.
what's up, the down, and the, because they're like, I don't want to mess with stuff. And I'm like, okay, tell me what your tolerances are.
Mm-hmm.
Let me know.
Yeah.
And either they're gonna rent it because they want the equity and they want to buy a place up north, and where her practice moved to. So they're either going to rent the house and then rent up north,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's a tradesy, or they're going to sell it and buy up north. So, that's just where they're at. They don't want the, and, I've been in this business since the 80s, and I've been there where people do the whole contract crap and carry it,
Mm-hmm.
and I told them how it works, and they just don't want to deal with it.
Okay. Fair enough.
So,
I got about 7 crappy deals in my portfolio then.
Right.
I'm just kidding, because
right.
I bought those through Creative. They're holding the contract, right? And so
Right.
it's how I was able to
Yeah.
build my portfolio.
Well, and that's not a bad way to do it, and I'm not saying it is, but when you have more challenging homes
Yeah.
that are difficult to sell, but this house has got, I'm not saying this because I owned it, but this house is on a premium lot. It's just a crummy market because there's only 2 Lakewood houses on the market right now.
Mm-hmm.
Only 4 have sold since January,
Yeah.
and there's nothing lakeside up for sale. So they've got a little gem there.
Yeah.
Right. And they're in a really great offer point.
Mm-hmm.
So either it happens or it doesn't, we get an offer or we rent it. That's kind of where it's at.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that makes a lot of sense, especially since the house is in great condition. It's
New roof. It has the roof is only, 5 or 6 years old.
Yeah.
They just replaced the oldest air conditioner.
Yeah.
And they got a new pool heater coming.
Yeah.
So, it's a hard no on a carryback.
Yeah, of course. Okay. And do you know how much they have left on the loan? I'm just curious, because there's this a weird way I learned how to buy houses. Yes, it's a carryback, but it comes with a big old down payment. I'm just wondering, do you know if they have a lot of
hard no.
Yeah.
It's a hard no.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a hard no.
And then you're saying they were trying to go up north. Are they trying to go to Flagstaff?
No, just north of Phoenix, just in Scottsdale.
Oh, okay. When I hear up north, I'm thinking Flag.
Right?
Yeah, because I flip in Flag as well, and I've got a really cutie up there. So I was like, well, I got the house for them. Okay.
Yeah, no, I've got a couple places in Payson, but no.
Oh.
She's a doctor. She's got a practice, and so it's kind of that situation, and they just want to be done. They don't want to fuss with it. So I've already hired a property manager for them, and I mean we're ready to go.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work out.
It sounds like it. Well, I will tell you this. I love getting on phone calls with agents like yourself who are very active, who have a lot of experience, can have proven that they've been able to get through all the ups and downs that the market has brought. And you have a lot of experience, it sounds like, on the creative side, which is amazing. So do you work with a lot of investors, or do you come across a lot of investors?
Oh, stink, yeah.
Stink,
Oh,
yeah? Oh, okay.
Yeah. I like to say I've been in this market since 1981, 82.
Yeah.
And so I did a lot of when I got in this market, I was a mortgage banker.
Oh, were you?
And I wrote loans at 19%.
Wow.
So yeah.
But for
So,
like 10,000, right? So I'm just
yeah.
kidding.
Yeah, right. So no, I mean I've just been around. I've seen a lot.
Yeah.
And I always educate my people about what's out there. And you're not the first one that's asked us about doing this.
Yeah. I mean, you've been around since the 80s, and with those high inflationary times comes these creative offers. So, I mean, it makes sense.
But rentals are absolutely soaring, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. And a lot of people want to do the carryback so they can rent it.
Yeah.
And I said, that's the risk. You got the paper, it falls apart, and you're screwed. So, no. My advice is no, you do what you got to do.
Yeah. Do you ever come across like just ugly houses that just need some cash offer thrown at them then? Do you have those?
I rehab them myself.
Do you? Oh my gosh, you definitely need to come to my meetup next week. We would love to have folks like you in the mix. Do you do stuff in town in Maricopa County?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, so I grew up, my dad's a builder.
Oh, wonderful.
And I'm a realtor and a designer. So I think, I don't know, last 5 years I've had 14 houses or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's fun, and I do it. I bet a client that I could rehab a kitchen for $1,600 and triple their money, and I did.
That's awesome. So you're one of those unicorn agents that can bring a lot to the table when a client needs you, because you know it from A to Z, which is awesome.
Well, I don't know about that. I'm just honoring.
Yeah. Right on. Well, I am having a meetup. I'd love to meet you. May 1st. Have you heard of the Crown Room down in Tempe, Arizona?
The Crown Room?
Uh-huh.
No, maybe. The Crown Hotel?
No, it's called the Crown Room. It's kind of like a WeWork. Have you heard of WeWork space, where it's like shared working space or offices?
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, it's called the Crown Room. It's actually a space that was opened by Tim Crown. He was the founder of Insight. That was one of like our...
Oh my God, I know him.
You know him?
Him and his brother.
Yes, him and his brother. They opened up this place, and they're there like every day.
The Crown Boys is what I used to call them.
Oh, that's fantastic.
They
Well,
were across the freeway from me.
oh, all right. Well,
I
they
have so many
built this
clients
space.
that worked for them.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry.
So-
Who used to work for them?
I have so many clients and friends that worked for them.
Oh, yes.
I probably have like, and I think 5 of them are still there. So
That makes sense if like your clientele are engineers, for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we're having an event at their new space on Thursday, May 1st from 5 to 7, but it's only for females. So only women investors are allowed to go.
Oh, interesting.
That's why I'm saying you should come down. There's only so many ovaries that do these.
Well,
Well, you know what? If you want to text me the information, that'd be fabulous. I'm open. So,
Yeah.
yeah, let me know because I'm always good in networking. I love it.
Okay, wonderful. So I am the guest speaker, and we're going to talk about those crappy creative deals. But my goal is to teach all these investors about how creative is just one tool in the toolbox. Yeah, absolutely. And
I think it's great and it's an opportunity. It's just not for these guys.
Yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense. They're not super motivated. Oftentimes, I'm actually offering like over asking price, and that's how I bake in a lot of the interest. But I hear you. Yeah, they don't seem like that's the sort of situation that they're in. So
It doesn't feel their needs.
yeah, absolutely. Okay. Well, Michelle, what I'll do is I'll send you that meeting invite for next Thursday, May 1st, and then maybe we'll get to know each other. Maybe we could do some deals. I also do lending, so if you're going to take down all those properties, I'd be happy to see how maybe we could work that out as well.
Well, and I've been an underwriter for 30 years, so maybe.
Wow. Awesome. You have a lot to offer. Cool.
I try. So, all right. Yeah, send that to me. Let's
All right.
see.
Thanks, Michelle. Okay, we'll see you.
Yeah, have a good night.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
I told you you had
She's so good. Ingrid, you're so good.
Is there any way I could pull off an ovary joke like that?
No. I don't. Half the jokes she says are inappropriate AF, but she gets away with them
because I have them.
Because you have ovaries?
Yes.
You're so good.
That was a long call. Where are we at? 5:15. Who's got a?
I'm on.
All right.
What?
Texted him. I didn't get
What's
a
up?
pickup, but I'll try him.
Wait, a long call?
It wasn't a criticism.
Oh, okay. Cool.
You thought that was a criticism?
Yeah, bruh.
Not at all.
All right. Just checking.
That was a long, great call.
There we go. There we go.
It was a phenomenal call.
But I knew you'd buy it.
Yeah. I everything in me not to tell her, oh, I am 43. That's how old I am. I'm 43. Hot damn, I got gray hair. And kids. And stretch marks.
You have reached the Pt2 multi-service. You have reached the Pt2 multi-service. I am currently closed. Please leave me a name, number, and I will reach you at my earliest convenience. Se ha comunicado la oficina de Pt2 multi-service. Por favor, debe dejarme su nombre, breve mensaje y regresaré a su llamada. Gracias.
David, what's going on, brother? This is Matthew Starbukovsky. My intention in reaching out to you was to talk about the Hemlock Street property. My assistant had let me know that you were expecting a call right about now. If it's a bad time, no harm, no foul. I'll try you in the next couple of hours. If you're available before then, please don't hesitate to give me a call back. Otherwise, I'm sure we can reconvene. I'm a local flipper in the area. I've got one going near the Bayou in the Galleria area. Your Hemlock listing looks like it's got a lot of potential. So give me a buzz back, and I'd love to have the conversation.
Take it easy, my man. Michelle, what?
That is a funny man. Okay, who's got a 5:15 call? Anybody?
That was my 5:15.
5:15. Okay, cool.
Casey, did you call your Mesa condo?
I got that one still, and I got a 530 land one. But
Ooh, I got a 545 land one.
Just call
Really?
early. Did you
Houston,
finish?
Texas.
Did you finish the
mine's in
phone?
Houston. What?
Are you,
Can-
Matthew, are you working
Yeah,
Houston?
with Louver, yeah, we're doing Subto there, God willing.
Freaking
Trying, baby, trying.
love it. Okay, cool. Any questions while we wait for the next call? Anybody have a question?
Earlier, Matt asked on the phone, if I can get you this offer, what would be the next steps? And you asked that a couple times.
Yeah.
What kind of answer are you looking for there?
I'm never looking for a
Hold on.
yes.
Re-ask her question because she didn't have a microphone. People can't hear.
Fair. So her question was, every time I hit like a checkpoint, I'm asking what would be the next step. And usually in sales, we're taught like, let me get her to say yes. People hate to say yes. Like think about when you go to a shoe store. Like I'm shopping for shoes, right? And I'll go to Foot Locker. And when I get there, what does an employee do? Hey, are you looking for anything specific? How can I help you? And what I do is I shut down and I'm like, no, I'm just looking. I could have came for a specific pair of shoes, but I shut down. And so commitments are scary. And so instead of me getting somebody to commit to saying a yes to me, my intention is always going to be to get them into implementation thinking. And so when I ask what's the next step, I'm allowing them to feel like they're in control and they're guiding me, but we're walking through my process. And so that's a much more convenient way for me to figure out how seriously they're taking me and what reciprocal value I can bring to them, rather than like, hey, will you take my offer? Oh gosh, like what are you doing? That's scary. But what's the next step? It allows her to have the ball in her court. Great question though.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if there's any book, if any of you want to get into sales, there's two things. One is pasted I think like a 5 Zoom series. My husband and I listened to it on our way to California, where he broke down the Sandler method. Pace was so good at the Sandler method with like the crew that he was learning it with, I don't remember, that he ended up teaching the Sandler method because he was so good at it. But what he's doing is like quintessential Sandler method. Honestly, once you hear like all the phraseology that it involves, and it's all about like closing one door before you get to the next thing. There's like a submarine visual around it. So definitely go check that out in the Zoom Vault in Subto. I actually learned a crap ton. Like also when to shut up. Like sometimes you have to let those awkward pauses take over the conversation so that then they feel compelled to speak.
Yeah, silence, awkward silence. Whoever speaks loses first, right? So for me, my goal is to allow them to feel like they're in full control of the dynamic. Sandler Method are incredible books. You can't teach a kid how to ride a bike at a seminar.
Yeah.
Caroline's probably pushing you guys all to read that book. Highly advise. Right after that, I would read Asking Questions the Sandler Way. That's going to teach you how to maneuver through your sales process more. And then once you're getting into the meat and potatoes, Spin Selling by Neil Rackman, an incredible book. It's not as fun to read, but it'll add a lot of value into your experience as you're getting on the phones.
The other thing I would advise everybody do, so we did, this has probably been now 4. Are you talking about the Zoom Vault where I did the?
I did,
That was a good
It
series.
was solid. It was like 5 episodes, I think.
Yeah, we did like a 5-part series.
I was telling them I listened to it on our way to California because it was like just big enough of like hours.
Yeah.
And it was super, super good.
That's actually how I craft all the Zoom series, is I think about how long a road trip is.
6 hours, y'all.
That was a really good one. And then we have the Daily Dial. For those of you guys that are not participating in the Daily Dial, it's just everyday role-playing in the mornings. It's role-playing on cash deals. It's role-playing on creative finance deals. It's role-playing on all of those types of things. My wife is about to pull into our house, and I have to text her happy birthday as she goes and finds her surprise. So it's a picture of me naked. Don't worry. Now, a couple of things, because we've got like 10 minutes before the next call. Is Get Nesty, is that a listing service? What is that?
Get Nesty is the buyer form that if you're looking to buy a property through creative means, this is not investor centric. It's if you want to find a primary home, because many of you may know that we have a website called nobankloanhomes.com. That website primarily is Arizona, and it's properties that like have a solid interest rate, but the biggest value is that you can buy it without qualifying for a loan, right? And they're mostly meant for people who have to just live there, not cash flow. So Get Nesty, it was just an easy link to
So
remember.
good. Sneaky link.
It's a sneaky link. Yeah.
Okay. You went into the bathroom and we heard the
the music?
Yeah, overhead music. Yeah.
That makes you like.
Yeah,
That was while I was peeing. You heard that all?
Yeah.
You guys heard the fart too?
No. Which one?
I'm just playing, guys.
They caught it. Okay, so couple of things I want you guys to kind of visualize is that we are obviously calling sellers, right? All of these deals have a seller in these houses, and we're calling and talking to real estate agents, correct? What role are we playing right now?
Buyer.
We are playing the wholesaler. Okay? We are playing the wholesaler. We're reaching out to these agents and we're trying to get a deal under contract. Now, Jamil, myself, Ingrid, Matthew, and Casey, we're also all actual buyers. We all flip, we all buy and hold, okay? But we also wholesale. So we are reaching out to these agents directly. What I want you guys to understand is there's really only 3 things that you can do with these houses. A is I can buy these houses and hold them in our portfolio. We've done that multiple times in the No One Left Behind Challenge. B, I can develop or flip them. Developing and flipping is basically the same thing. And then C, I can wholesale them, okay, to another person. We are trying to do one of those 3 things. When you guys go home, there's a couple of things I want you to think of. Are you going to be this person right out of the gate? Are you going to be the person that's going out and negotiating and trying to get some of these contracts? Some people, yes, depending on personality types. You already know exactly what you're doing when you go home, right? What are you doing? Bird dogging. Okay, bird dogging. Let's talk about what bird dogging is. If Matthew gets a deal under contract and Casey gets a deal under contract, do you guys buy every deal that you contract? Impossible. It's impossible. So what are they doing? They're choosing which ones make sense for them to buy and hold. They're choosing which ones make sense for them to flip themselves. And are they picking and choosing only the ones that make them the most money?
Mm-hmm. Or close or more convenient. Or
there you go. Or like my crews that have been with me for 16 years, I would never put them on a luxury house. They just don't have the skill. Their tile work is not going to be for a $3 million home. My tile crew is good for like a $700,000 house or less. So I immediately, like my crew, you see how different every single buyer is going to be? He's like, what kind of crew do you have access to? How many houses can you handle at the same time, right? And so what's going to happen is Matthew or Casey or Ingrid or Pace or Jamil, we're skilled enough to go and get these contracts with agents directly. So we end up buying and holding what we want, not because they're the only good deals, but because maybe, Jamil, can you buy 30 co-living properties this month?
No. Can
Impossible.
I buy 30? No, not a chance.
You could buy them, but you'd end up losing on 29 of them.
Absolutely.
So there's a cadence that every buyer can actually handle, right? So Jamil will go, I'm going to buy 4 to 6 co-living properties in my portfolio. The problem is you could go into the Subto Facebook group right now. You guys could scroll through. You cannot go through 20 posts in there and not buy a deal under 4%. So if you're in here going, well, I want a deal today, then go buy a deal in the Facebook group. You might not be ready for that, right? That's scary, okay?
My heart's racing just thinking about it.
Right. So is there a lack of access to deals? No. So here's what I want to point out to you and everybody else. It's like, I want to deal like really, really quickly. Bird dogging is a really wonderful way to do that, and I'll explain that to you over the next like 6 minutes. So Jamil's going to buy, like my team, we're going to buy probably $50 million in real estate this year, primarily multifamily, RV parks, and maybe a couple of mobile home parks. I'm not buying a lot of single family properties anymore. Why? Why am I not buying single families? Because single family is a bad investment?
They don't cash flow as well.
No, they cash flow.
No, that's...
Just too many deals to...
There's a lot of
There's a point where you graduate from 6th grade and you go into junior high. Correct? Single family is elementary school. And it's a wonderful place to get started. I did single family honestly way too long, and I was fearful of branching out, and I should have branched out into multifamily and other stuff way faster. I have like hundreds of single family properties. I should only have like 25. Okay, at some point, you don't want more than 15 to 30 single family homes max in your portfolio. Then what you do is you start upgrading to larger assets like multifamily, duplexes, quadplexes, those types of things. Larger assets, same amount of management. In fact, I would argue 10 single family homes is the same amount of management as my 160 unit apartment building. Why? Because they're spread out all over the place. I can't have the same handyman fix this house as I do that house because they're on opposite sides of that. The ability to scale in single family beyond 25 houses starts getting really hard. So my team, we're in 15 markets. I don't want to be in 15 markets. I want to be in 5. So right now what we're doing is we're going and selling 2 or 3 single family homes at a time. As tenants move out, we're selling those properties. What am I doing with that money? I roll that into larger assets like mobile home parks. I know based on the size of my team how much I can handle in terms of like, if somebody just gives me 25 RV parks, am I going to be able to handle that? No. It's physically impossible, even with the size of my team. I'm saying this to let you guys know that these gentlemen, Jamil, Ingrid, they're all the same to varying degrees. Everybody has a little bit different thing. We can only buy and hold so many. We can only fix and flip so many. My team also, the most amount of fix and flips we want to do in a year is probably about 20 to 25. I don't want to do 50 flips. Okay? I've done that in a year. It requires, to go from 25 flips in a year to 50 flips in a year requires not double the size of the team, 3 times the size of the team. So fixing and flipping has a diminishing return at a certain point. Okay? All right, so I'm saying all of this to say, as we, the deal finders, are going out and finding these agents and getting these contracts, a good portion of our deals need to go to other buyers. Is it because they're bad deals? No, I just explained that for 7 straight minutes. They are not bad deals. It's just that that person, Casey, Matthew, Jamil, Ingrid, myself, or thousands of other deal finders in Subto, just go, I got 6 deals this month. I can't flip 6 deals. I can't freaking buy and hold 6 deals. I need to sell 3 or 4 of them off. So where does that provide opportunity for you? You come into you find, here's what I want you guys to do. Everybody in here, please write this down. I'm going to give you such an easy game plan. Okay? How many people do we have in the Subto community? We have 16,000. Okay? About 4,000 of them do not check the Facebook group, but they text me almost every single week. Okay? Those are the ones that have scaled. Those are the ones that are like Ingrid that have been in the community for 4 years that are like, I'm out doing so many deals, I don't have time to be in the Facebook group. Okay? But about 3,000 of them are still posting in the Facebook group, are doing 2, 3 deals every single month. Okay? This provides a tremendous opportunity for new members of Subto. Okay? So when somebody posts a deal, let's say Matthew or Casey posts a deal in the Facebook group. Hey guys, I have a deal. What I would be doing is I would this is step number 1. Every time there is a deal posted in the Facebook group, what do I know about that person? That's somebody that's going to bring me deal after deal after deal for the rest of my life. If they're posting those deals, somebody like a Matthew, somebody like a Casey, if I call them up and go, hey, Matthew, I saw your post. I want to find deals for buyers. Do you mind if I present your deal to some of my buyers? Matthew, what are you going to say? All day. What are you talking about? That's amazing. Who are the people you're going to reach out to typically to sell a Matthew deal or a Casey deal or a Jamil deal? The people that have been in Subto for 5 years, 4 years, 3 years, that are so busy on their projects, they're not checking the Facebook group anymore. That's me. Kelly just sold me a deal. Okay? She knows what I'm looking for. She went and found it inside, somebody that's in our community brought her a deal. She copied and pasted 6 addresses. Was it 6 addresses? She literally copied and pasted 6 addresses to my team, Heidi. Heidi says, we like this one, but we need it lower. Kelly took that and went to the wholesaler and said, we need it lower. That wholesaler said, no problem. I'll give it to you lower. Kelly comes back to Heidi. We got it lower. And you made 10 grand. There you go. That is all you have to do. So when somebody posts a deal in the Facebook group, I want you to collect, this is step number 1, collect 50 people over the next 30 days that are posting deals in the Facebook group and develop a relationship with them. Okay? Now what you're going to do is step number 2. Okay? Step number 2, I want you to go into the student directory. I want you to go in the student directory and look in the market that those deals are being posted in. So let's say it's Arizona. Actually, I can make this way easier. You want me to make it really easy for you? Okay, email, here's what I want you to do. Email support@subto.com. And I want you to ask for the Owners Club list. Yes?
I did that when you had one of your jam sessions, and they said it is not ready yet.
Yeah, that must have been over a month ago.
No.
My last jam session I did was a month ago. It was the week before Squat Up Summit. Squat Up Summit was the 27th of March.
Text Joe.
Say that in another Zoom, because I was in the same one and I.
It's ready. It's ready.
Yeah.
It's ready. That team is literally on the other side as well. They will say it's ready.
You said ask for what?
Owners Club list. People that wear this pin. People are doing a ton of deals. People like these 2 gentlemen. Actually, these 3 people right here are all Owners Club members. They have a very specific buy box that is on that list. They will tell you exactly what they're looking for. Okay? And all you're doing is you're connecting them. And you're being, what I told you yesterday was, this is how my team operates. I have somebody that looks at all my deals. Her name is Heidi. So if you want to bring me a deal, you email Heidi@pacemorby.com. Hey Heidi, what do you think about this deal? My price is not included. You just literally emailed us the price, right? You didn't add anything on top. We were just transparent, correct? It's that simple. Okay. So she copied and pasted addresses to Heidi. Heidi says, no, 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 no. For me, the average amount of times my team says no is 29 times. Do you want to know why? They don't even look at our buy box. The people that send Heidi deals are like, hey, I got a deal in Nebraska. What do you think? Heidi's like, bro, what? Is Nebraska even a real state? What are you talking about? That's a joke. I'm sorry. So a lot of the stuff that Heidi looks at, people are not even taking the time. Like they're so lazy. They don't find an Arizona deal. It's literally like half of the deals my team looks at are not even in the state that we buy. So that's why we say no 29 times for every yes. Okay, so you take half of that out. 15 of the Arizona deals that come to us, we will say yes. Why do we not say yes to the other 14? Are they houses that don't fit our buy box? Sometimes. People will go, oh, Maricopa County, I know Pace says he doesn't want to do $1 million, but you know, this is such a pretty house, and I'm going to send him a $2 million deal. We get a lot of that too, okay? But a lot of the times, our team will say, that price is a little high. Can you see if your buyer, or sorry, you can see if that wholesaler will lower the price 10 grand or 15 grand so you can get paid? That's as simple as it is. You can tell us the price. We will not go around you. Did we go around you? Would we ever go around you? So if you want to find deals from me, easy. I have like 5 different buy boxes. I've got mobile home. We're closing on a deal. Spring. When's Big Spring? Are you guys involved in Big Spring? When's that closing? Okay, so May 10th, I'm closing on a. Do you know how big it is?
It's 2 RV parks.
Oh, it's 2. See, I don't even know. But we're buying 2 RV parks right now, found from a student. They got paid. Where did they find the deal?
Facebook group.
In the Facebook group. They literally went in the Facebook group, did exactly what I told you, brought the deal to my team. My team says, yes, we want to buy the deal. Yes, go ahead.
Is it only on the Facebook group that the deals are posted, or does it have any other?
There's so many different places that deals are posted. Okay? A lot of these people, like myself or Ingrid, will have their own websites. So what you're doing is you are overthinking already, just so you know. I could give you the most basic roadmap. You're like, no, I don't want to be successful. F that. Let me complicate this. Are there other things? I know you just gave me 2 steps, but can you do step 1A and step 1B and step 1C? That's what you're asking me right now? If let's say Matthew makes a post in the Subto Facebook group, and I reach out to Matthew and I say, hey, Matthew, are there other deals you have? Matthew's going to say what?
Always.
Always. Matthew, do you post every one of your deals in the Subto Facebook group?
No, we do not. That's like my second, third resort, brother.
There you go. So how do I do this? I build a relationship with the people I know that are posting in the Facebook group, and I ask them, where else can I see your deals? Does that make sense?
Be honest about it, though. I have wholesalers who will see my deals, and then they're going to try to sell them behind my back. I'm here to JV with you guys all day long, but it's got to be forthright and transparent. That's the standard.
Yeah, you very clearly say, I'm bird dogging.
Yes.
You don't tell people I'm the buyer.
Mm-hmm.
We've done go to the bird dog training. Everybody in here, go watch the bird dog training. It's literally 2 hours. That's it. It is 2 hours of training because it's that simple. Okay?
When I was on this chair yesterday, I did exactly that. Do you know Matthew Justice?
Yes.
I love me some Matthew Justice, and he's got his team, Justin's Cribs, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was here, I wasn't able to actually daisy chain, which I would have totally chained. And I messaged Matthew, or I messaged Steve, and I said, hey, Steve, I have a buyer for you. Throw me a bone or two, $1,000, y'all. And you guys can just have my buyer. And literally, that's how I did it. And I was up here texting that. And it was because, she needs to buy 3 or 4 flips. They have it. This numbers already look good. I'm not going to buy this, so.
How many deals will my team buy the rest of this year? Probably 15 flips from Subto members. Ingrid is probably going to buy another 5 flips this year.
I need one right now.
You need one right now?
But give me like a good one. East Valley.
Send them to
Actually,
me
West
first,
Valley's
and
good,
then
too.
I'll send them to her.
West Valley too.
Just kidding. There's an abundance of deals. My team actually is texting right now. Jade's in the other room. And my team, I have a 5-person team. And our team is like, we don't have a deal problem. We have a money problem. Like, there's so many deals in this community. So many deals. We'll stick around. I'll explain more of this stuff. But you have a call for land, and I have a call for land. Yours is at 5:30, and I went long, didn't I?
Yeah, I'll get that.
I suck so bad, dude.
Catch up.
Read what Myron texted me. Isn't that cute?
Okay, perfect. So, and yeah, just FYI too, to Pace's point, I'm not a land guy, but I'm going to call and work through it.
Landman.
Not the Landman. Ooh, I was a.
That's a great show.
Yeah.
Casey, what time is this one?
5:30.
Perfect. I needed to know where we're plugging this.
And then I've got my call at 5:45. No, I did not skip the 4:45. I've been texting Mark. Him and I were texting yesterday, and then he moved me to today. He texted me and told me, hey, I'm so sorry, can we do it like 6:30? And I said, no. It's my wife's birthday. So.
They said they were free watching the Astros game, so we'll see.
The cheaters?
Oh.
This is Angela.
Hey, Angela, it's Casey Gregerson.
Hi, how are
Hey,
you?
I'm doing well. How are you? A few minutes late,
I'm doing good. No, not a problem.
But at least I warned you a little bit.
I'll just stalk you.
You said that's all right. You said you're watching the Astros game?
Oh God, yes.
Yeah, okay. How they doing? I didn't check. I've been on calls nonstop.
I walked away to go get my book and everything, but they had 2 on, and I've got it on the radio outside, but I'm not really listening to it. So.
Got it. You watch you and your husband fans, and the kids too, or just?
I am more the fan than he is. He'll watch it because of me, but I grew up in a sports family. My brother played football, and
love it.
Back in the day, we lived at the Astrodome watching the Oilers.
Oh, so cool.
And Dad actually grew up with Nolan Ryan.
No kidding.
And he said Nolan Ryan got his arm because of my dad and his brother, my uncle, because they would get on the sides of the bio, and Nolan Ryan would fling mud pies at them.
Oh, wow.
And
That's
so he said he got his arm from throwing that.
Oh, so cool. That's so awesome.
So we, went to the Dome and watched the Astros, watched the Oilers, that kind of stuff. And
wow.
Never been to a Texans game.
Never?
Never been to that energy. Nope.
No kidding.
And we just took Dad. He turned on his 80th or 81st birthday, 80th, I think. We took him to an Astros game. And told him, not sure how many more rotations you got? And we did this as a kid, so let's go do it one more time. And he said, let's go. So it was me and my husband and my dad and my stepson. And we went and had a really good time, and the Astros won. So it turned out to be a pretty good birthday for him.
Heck yeah. No, that's great. I love it. I'm glad you shared. We're big baseball guys. And what part of Houston, actually, do you guys live in?
I grew up in a town called Manville. You ever heard of that? It's just south of Houston. It's down around Pearland, Friendswood, Alvin.
Okay.
I don't know if you do any investment down in that area. But when I got married, I moved to Katy, which is west of Houston.
There you go. Yep, we live right at the Beltway and I-10 in the Memorial area, so I know.
Okay, you're right down the road from me.
That's
so you're
right.
here?
Yes. Yep. Not today.
Okay, yeah, you're right down the road from me.
Yep. Exactly. Well, cool. Well, I'll jump in on this listing you got on Kincaid Street. So I'm not. The land one's a little tricky for me to navigate, but I wanted to kind of pick your brain because it sounds like you're super active too. Because do you just list land stuff, or do you also do other listings?
No, I do homes.
Okay.
In fact, I've got a client looking to buy a home. So I do list, I do land, I do homes, I buy whatever.
Okay.
So,
well, that's good because even if I can't help you here, that's why I was just more curious to get to know you because I buy all around Houston, and so I'd love to look for stuff. But I guess on this one, to jump right in, it's been listed for quite a while. So are they just kind of wait around and hang tight till they get their offer, or tell me more?
My client is one of 8. There's 8 children.
Oh wow.
And that was they grew up there. There used to be a house.
Okay.
And
really?
I guess when everybody kind of grew up and went away, then mom and dad downsized and they bought another house, and they leveled that house. They just cleared the lot. Well, my client, they hadn't ever done anything. I don't know. I haven't been out there in months. Was there still some trash and everything on it?
No, I'm looking at the overhead pictures, and I'm just surprised there at one point was a house there. It's pretty full of trees.
Yeah, 2 of the siblings go out every week, and they're getting rid of the trash because there hasn't been anybody there doing anything.
Yeah.
For some reason, the Houstonians started using it as a dumping ground.
Oh wow.
So 2 of the siblings are going out there and cleaning it.
Oh man.
And I know my clients, well, they're all my clients, but he's the one that contacted me. He is going to, when they get to that point, he's going to get a what they call it, an off roller, the roll dumpster.
Yeah.
And
roll
they're
off.
just going to finish. Yeah. So the land will be clear.
Okay.
But no, it has sat. Oh my gosh, my phone blew up when I listed it.
Really?
But nobody, they're like, no, I can't pay more than 100. I'm like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'll help you find something else. Well, he won't budge. And I said, look, he wants to sell it. I said, however, he's got an appraisal, and they're asking for appraisal price.
That's what it
And they're
appraised,
like,
huh?
oh, okay. Yes, it appraised at 320.
Okay. Wow.
And so they asked me, and I'm like, you can give or take either way.
Okay.
But, I had another investor contact me several months ago, and the most he wanted to go was like 230.
Okay.
And I'm like, don't shoot the messenger. I'm doing my job. And he's like, no, I'm not taking that. Look, I know it's insulting, but I said, by law, I have to present the offer to you.
Absolutely.
So,
well, let me ask you this. I'm sure you've gotten this question, if being listed this long, and especially being land. Has anybody made any seller finance offers? And if so, what's their feedback been?
Seller financing, he doesn't want to do. My client is up in age.
Okay.
Like I said, he's one of 8, and he's the oldest, and he's way up in age. And so it's just seller financing is not something he would consider.
What if it was shorter term, right? Because what I'm thinking is we go develop this, and if you guys could carry that amount, and we could go get bank financing, and we could go actually develop this and realize the full potential. I mean, obviously that's not going to be a 6-month project. It's probably 12 to 18, but you think they'd be interested? Because I'm assuming people made offers on like long-term financing. But what are your thoughts on that?
You lost me.
Yeah, so I'm saying
You mean develop it and then see.
what I'm saying is if they could carry that balance, let me go in and get a bank loan to go develop this, and then we're going to turn around and flip it. And when we flip and sell it, that's when we would pay them back. And it would give us, that'll help me on my side, right? It'll help me. It's like less capital I got to bring to the table, and honestly a higher purchase price that I could probably pay you guys.
Okay, I see what you're saying now. I don't think he would be willing to do that.
Got it. And
he just wants to sell it. Just
Understood.
be done with it.
Understood.
He doesn't want to carry a note or anything.
Okay. Yeah, and if they're just wanting to wait, the only reason I bring it up too is obviously it's been waiting. They're obviously patient. Sounds like they don't need all the money now, and this would just allow me to pay that price. And we just need some time to go develop it. But if not, I'm going to be like all the other guys, honestly. As far as I don't think they're probably not too far off. Yeah, as far as on a cash offer. On the cash offer, I'm going to be right around them. But I just wanted to propose something else that might get him the number he wants, and it could help be a win-win for us too.
Well, the one that you sent me, the 329, was that just something to get my attention, or?
Yeah, and honestly, I'm surprised it was at 329 because typically we run it at a percentage of like market value, but that one came in a little bit high. So yeah, we'd be over asking at that point. So
yeah.
So yeah, we wouldn't be there. We would be under the 320. We're going to be right around where a lot of those other people offered, but what do you think? Is it worth?
No.
Okay, because I could put together a quick LOI so we could look at it. Like I know you got the quick, like kind of that's like a high level one that that's to get you to give us a call and figure out if we could do something. But I can give you an up-to-date one if you think it's worth presenting. But also, I don't want to waste. I would rather go spend more time on some of your other listings, honestly.
If you develop it, how certain are you that you could flip it right away?
I mean, I would be real transparent with all the numbers and all the like plans and what it all looks like so he could see it. But yeah, there is a point. We would need some flexibility as far as when we sell it on the back end. But those are all numbers so we could like walk him through. But honestly, I just wanted to see if it's even, he's even open to it.
I don't know if he would. In fact, when we're done, I'm going to call him.
Okay.
Because after I got that call this morning, I did call him and tell him.
Okay.
And I said, I don't know, what's going on here, but I said, nobody responded to my email, and I got a phone call this morning. And so I said, when I get off the phone with him, then I'll call you.
Okay.
So I will ask him, but I don't know. No, I don't really think that he would carry the notes, and I know that he's not going to go less than appraisal.
Yeah, and you know what? So if you want, please do present it to him. But it might be a no right now, but it's something you guys could keep in mind because if somebody comes along and gives you guys the close to your asking for appraised value, I mean that'd be awesome. I hope it does happen.
Yeah, no, I've been trying to promote it out there to investors, and it's kind of like. I've had listings like this before where it's like everybody wants it, so they want to come in with a low number and just expect my client to turn around and take it. Well, look, I'm the realtor that let's make it a win-win. You're not going to walk away with everything. My client's not going to walk away with everything, but let's make this a win-win.
For sure.
And so, I mean, that's where we are. I mean, he's got black and white of 320. I know you're an investor. I know you're looking for a good deal. Mm-hmm. It's 4 lots, 2 on one side, 2 on the other. It's got its own driveways on each side. It would be perfect for something like 4-plex.
Yep.
Whatever, sexplex, whatever it is. It's perfect for that. Perfect.
Absolutely. Well, one more win-win. Can I throw it at you so you can look for other stuff?
Absolutely.
Because it sounds like you're active. So this is what I'm looking for, and let me know if you feel like you would run into something like this. But I'm looking for. So I'm a fix and flipper, but I'm a little bit different than everybody else who just makes the cash offers, right? That probably just offends most people. And again, I could always make that offer, but we do a different option where it's very similar to what I'm presenting here, but it's easier to understand because it's not full development and it's a lot faster. So I've got crews that I'm always keeping busy, and what we would do is if you've got a fixer-upper, we would go in and we'd actually go fund it, fix it all up, and then we would pay your seller on the back end. And we usually set it up as like a profit share, right? And all this is defined at the very beginning so they know what you're getting into. We'll run it through the title company, just like all your other transactions. But what we'll do is you can actually list that on the back end, so we'll be able to list it for the higher price. And the sellers typically love it because it's a lot higher offer, right? Because I'm sharing in the upside. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And then the agent loves it, right? Because you're able to sell it at a higher price. Seller sells it for more. And me as a fix and flipper, I don't have to go buy it at such a huge discount, right? Because we're like sharing in the profits, right? As long as I get paid back what I got into it on my rehab, then everybody wins. So that's something we do a little bit different. And honestly, I would say of all the fix and flips I'm doing right now, 90% I'm doing just like that. So I wanted to present that to you in case you have any houses that you're struggling to move, because it just needs to be fixed up, right, to where you could go sell it for market value and be able to get traditional financing.
Okay, so you're kind of like, I don't remember that other company, but like a Curbio type deal. Come in, fix it.
Yep.
When the house sells, you take your cut.
Exactly. Yep. Similar structure.
You don't want it up front. You just want it at closing.
Exactly. Yeah. And then that's the beauty of it too. And we want to go, then we're both on the same side of the table and we all get paid when it sells. So like I'm incentivized to get going fast, and that's why it works, because I've got crews that could go in and jump on it. And then, like I say, we all make money when it sells, including you, right? I want you to list these if you bring them to me.
All right. Okay.
You're tracking. Well, I'll send you my contact info so we can stay in touch on that.
Please do, because this, I'll call him. I don't know if this is going to go through or not. And if it doesn't, I'd like to call you back and present you with something else and maybe do some other business with you.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, and especially with you right here in Houston.
Exactly. We'll maybe go grab coffee or lunch sometime. You're just over in Katy, just up the street.
Okay, yeah, that sounds great. Tied up tomorrow, free Thursday, Friday.
Okay. I'm actually out of town right now, but next week, yeah. I'll shoot my contact info. We'll make some time next week.
Yeah, and next week is, all over the board. So just like a day's advance or whatever, and let me know, and I'll let you know, and we can go from there.
Cool.
But yeah, let me call my client. So this 329, 9,800, that's all gone.
We could do 329 potentially if we paid it on the back end, and he seller carried it. So we could still get to that number if they wanted. But the biggest thing, so here's what I would, to make it very simple, be like, hey, if they can get to your number, are you okay getting paid in, I'd say, 12 to 18 months when they're actually able to develop this and sell it off?
Well, and I guess that's my question, because he's going to ask this. How assured are you that you can sell this property in a reasonable amount of time instead of another year and a half, 2 years?
Yep. Well, at that point, right, it's not development, right? These houses are ready to go. And that's where I want to leverage your skill set too, right? Like we'll run comps of what these houses would sell for, and we'll be conservative, right? As you know, things in Houston that are priced right are still moving, but we're going to also try to make sure we're at a good price point. You know what I mean? Like what I'm seeing around Houston is stuff that's priced right is moving, but not the higher stuff.
I don't believe in overpricing. If my client wants to overprice, I advise them against it.
Yep.
But here's where it needs to be. You're the boss. You set the price. You tell me what to list it at.
Yep.
And if though let's go at the high end, I advise against that. Let's go in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
If they want to overbid, then that's on them.
Exactly.
Then let's go from there. But at least if you're going in the middle, you've got room either way.
Love that.
So, and they normally listen to me.
Good.
But
they should.
I am not that realtor that wants to just gouge everybody for every single penny.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's not me. It's just not me.
I love that. Yep. Okay. Well, I'll let you give him a call. Or do you feel like? I'm happy to get on a three-way call too. Would that be helpful? To kind of. Or do you tell me? Because I'd be happy to kind of. Sometimes it's easier. Because you want to be able to answer.
I'll tell you what. And let me call him, and then I've got your number. I think. Hang on.
Yep. Yeah, you got me. You texted me about watching the Astros.
307.
You got it.
760 307 6684.
You got it.
Okay, let me call him, and then what I'll do is I'll give you a call back if he wants the three-way,
Okay.
and then because I'll explain it to him, and then you can, I guess, clarify or explain it a little bit more in depth. So, but what you're saying is he will not get this money until 12 to 18 months.
Yeah, in order to get him that full price offer, and hopefully get him the number he's looking for.
Okay, now talk to me about this 9888 down payable to the seller at close.
Oh, 9888. Okay. I'm not looking at it in front of me right now, so catch me up really quick. But honestly, I'll save you the time. I'll save you the time.
Terms with a purchase price of $329,600 and $98.88 down payable to the seller at close of escrow, along with $1,000 earnest deposit. So is this $98.88? Is that on top of the $329,600?
No, yeah. So just make it really simple. Again, that's auto-populated, that initial email you got, right? I would make it very simple. We'll get him his number at 320. We could probably even go to 329. We just need to pay that in 12 to 18 months, and just make it really simple.
Okay.
Sorry, I made that confusing on that initial email.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, this doesn't make sense in purchase terms. What are you talking about purchase terms?
Yeah.
I got to know to talk to my clients.
Yeah. No, that's why we do this call, is to clarify and make it simple. So, but I'm just thankful that she opened it and it facilitated this call, because I'd love to, like I said, if this one doesn't work out.
Yeah, he just wants, so I've never done this. So we would go to closing. He would be done with it. They would walk away from the table with nothing. You would own the property, development, turn around and sell it for whatever.
Yes.
Then
And they'd be
we
secured
go back
on
to
it.
closing, or they just get a check.
Yeah, so they'll get a deed of trust, right? They'll be secured on the property after closing, where they're secured and they feel confident there, right? And then once we're all done, it'll just be like a second mortgage, right? So when we go to sell this thing on the back end, we'll go through title, they'll know their payoff, and they'll get paid off right then, right? And that protects them to where I can't go, there's no way I could refinance or go sell this or do anything without paying them off.
Okay.
These are good questions, and I'm happy to kind of
Yeah, and I don't know that he's going to go for it, just because there's so many of them, and he just wants it gone.
Yeah, I get it. It's actually really common in land, right? Because a lot of people want to move their land deals, and a lot of times you just have to move it through seller finance. But I get it. And again, the other thing too, like I mentioned, if it's not right now, it's okay. Like we'll still be around in 3 months, 6 months if it's still sitting.
Okay.
Who knows? It might be a better market then, as far as for developing.
It shifted into a buyer's market anyway. He's talking about having it reappraised. So who knows? Value may have come down.
Yeah, you bet. Okay, well I'll let you give him a shout and let me know how it goes, please.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Casey.
All right, thanks, Angela. Bye.
Bye.
All right.
She's gonna bring you
The way
deals.
you walked all that back, though, guys, let's think about how much credit Casey deserves for this call, because oftentimes what will happen, of course, this is an auto-populated email, right? And she's asking him and questioning him about details of the offer he hasn't even seen. And so he has to walk that whole thing back, and not only was he able to do that successfully, but he did it while maintaining and building rapport, right? Which I thought was absolutely phenomenal. So right off the gate, your skills in being able to disarm and kind of own that and say, sorry, this is how that happens, but let's forget that. Keep it simple. Here's the plan. And I thought that was very, very well executed because we all will step into piles of doo-doo on calls sometimes. It happens, right?
Yeah.
But how do you show up? A lot of times in my early days, I'd hang up. I'm like, I'm not, you know, like, that's okay. I'm not doing this right now because that's
You see
scary.
that? That was an old person joke. Too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you remember when we used to hang up phones?
Ingrid!
What?
Holy crap! How many times will she call me old in 1 week? I love you.
Casey, I have a question for you. This is more tactical. So, was this land already entitled?
Let me actually look at the listing. I'm not even a land guy, so I'm.
Oh, okay.
I think.
So here's what I actually think you might be able to go back with.
Lots are subdivided, but.
So the lots are subdivided. This might be a good question for Jeff Smith out in Houston.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. So I actually don't think you have to wait 12 to 18 months because they're going to have to subordinate to any construction loan you get. So what's the point? You might as well just like pay them off at that point. So the way I think that you might be able to do a play on this one is actually it's more like 5 to 6 months. You go and get those lots entitled, and then you decide whether or not you're going to develop them or not, or if you're going to sell each lot.
Mm-hmm.
So you would be able to pay them off. Now, at closing, for them to hold the note, I would still give them a down payment so that they feel like it's not like they're not getting had or whatever.
Yep.
And the subtails that I do, like when I have them hold the note, I'll still give them a good down payment, anywhere from like 30 to 60 grand.
Yeah.
And
totally.
then I do that. But anyways, just the thought. I know you don't do land.
Yep.
But Jeff Smith might be a really great contact on this one because he does deals in Houston, and that would be my play. Is like, let's go get these lots entitled, see what we could sell them there, and then you flip the lots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Instead of actually developing.
Having to develop it.
Yeah.
That could be I love that.
Mm-hmm.
When you flipping the lots itself, right? Depending on how his financing is going to be set up there, that could be problematic because they may want to be holding all of that money until you get to the final piece.
Mm-hmm.
That's usually how those work out. So just keep that in mind when you're making your structure, because if your seller thinks he's going to get paid out on each sale, but that's not how it's going to play out. It's going to play out at the profit. Banks usually will take everything until it's paid, and then gravy gets dispersed.
Yeah.
Got it.
Makes sense?
Yeah.
So just hold that in mind. If you're going to structure something like that, it's totally doable, but that's how it's going to get paid back.
Makes sense.
Yep.
And I took the feedback on not being too transparent.
Or not just not saying.
Yeah, not saying. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
But guys, to that point, and you see us all up here, right? We've been doing it for years, doing tons and tons of reps. But like you're still learning up on stage too. Like I hadn't actually been given that feedback, and I heard it, and then you just hear it and you implement it, right? And then you listen to other people.
Yeah.
Like I listen.
Plus, it's nerve-wracking. There's only 100 people looking at you right now. I'm like.
Aren't there another 1,000 on Zoom?
And however many are on Zoom.
Not to add pressure, guys.
Yeah. Not to add to your thing, Casey.
But guys, but I'm just saying it because it takes reps. So I lead Problems to Profits every Friday, where we do live calls and help people through it live through the vault, right? And people are always like, how do you do that, right? But it's doing years and years of these calls, and you just get better and better. And then you listen to Jamil, you listen to Pace, you listen to Ingrid, you listen to how other people do it. And you guys are all doing that right now. I know it might feel like you can't. You're like, well, that could never be me. But guys, I was an engineer by background. I never had any sales, and I just started watching it and repping it and just iterating, and I was able to train and get it. So I'm just saying anybody could do it.
Failing forward, right? And I thought something really cool is that Ingrid right away connected you to somebody else in Subto, and she said he's a subject matter expert. Casey worked with him, and I think that's the power of this room is that all of us get to work with each other's skill sets and leverage one another. That's what Subto is about. So I think that was really powerful.
Yeah, for sure.
Good.
What's up, Bucky?
Who's next? What's next?
What's up, Bucky?
Question on entitlement. Entitlement is essentially like confirming that you can build what you want to build, but without going through the permitting process.
No, it is going through the permitting process. So when you go through
But it's pre-built
But it's pre-built. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is that like still a very expensive route to go get
Oh,
something
big time.
entitled?
Yes,
Okay.
when you go get something entitled, you're actually going to go through your municipality, however it is. I think Houston's kind of wild, so I don't know all the stuff. That's why I'm like, Jeff's the guy. But here in Phoenix, and you would know this, Like you have to go get your site plan. You have to work with an architect. You got to get stamped. Sometimes it needs engineering. All of that costs money.
Fire, a grading and drainage plan, all of that's going to cost money. Survey, the whole thing, right? And it's not a guarantee that it's going to get approved. So it's got to be within the zoning requirements and still maintain all of the things that they're going to require. Like for instance, I did one 38 units over in Central Phoenix over here. We bought it on the idea that it was supposed to be like 45 units. Why do I only get 38 units?
Setbacks.
No, because there needed to be enough room for a fire truck to get into the area and make a U-turn. Who would have ever known? Right? And so that was an entire thing that I learned in that process. Cost us hundreds of thousands of dollars to lose that deal. So just because we couldn't do the deal any longer because that's not the way that it was going to pan out, right? So we had to pivot and do something else. But that's entitlements are, it's almost make-believe because nothing happened. You look at the piece of dirt, it's still the same piece of dirt maybe 2 years later.
Yeah.
So nothing changed on the dirt, but legally everything changed because they took the one piece, maybe they rezoned it, maybe they created new APNs to create the new lots. All of that gets done in entitlements. Yep.
I get the condo. Anybody else have one? I got one. Or do you have a set?
Dude, no, I wish.
Needed to be done for that
Yeah.
The minimum amount or maximum?
Do you want to call this guy?
What I did find out is we were only able to get 38 lots on that plan, in that site because of how much space was needed for the fire truck to make a U-turn.
It seems like it.
Longer you get to know me.
Do you need to do that or you?
That's a good question. I don't know. Yeah, because I was only involved in that deal and that thing, so I hadn't done enough of them to know if there's a range. Yeah.
All right, I got the stepchild lead, the condo and Chandler, but we'll try them. She's been waiting on me.
Okay.
She's ready. We're only 2 hours, hour and a half late.
Hi, Casey.
Hey, Becky, how are ya?
Good, you?
Hey, I'm good. I was just joking. I'm only an hour and a half late from our scheduled appointment. Will you forgive me?
It's okay.
Okay. Well, awesome. I'll jump in. I've just been nonstop on the phone, but just anyway. And then I was going to call yours. The next one called, but I appreciate your patience. Okay, so this is, and your first question was if we wanted to rent it or to buy it. So that actually plays right into it because sounds like, tell me a little bit more, but it sounds like the seller at this point had been sitting for a while. So like, you know what? Why don't we see if we can rent this thing out? Is that kind of where they're
Yeah, a
at?
lot of sellers are doing that, but I'm having a feeling you're probably going to want to do one of those. You take over the mortgage, pay the commission, and then you guys hold it, rent it.
How did you know?
I just, because I get probably 5 of these a day.
You get 5 of these. I get it.
Yeah, and I've sent him 5 contracts exactly like this with the terms like that, the full price, take over the payments. I'm just drawing a blank because I'm so tired of being on the road for 8 hours. Not option to purchase, purchase agreement or something like that. So yeah, you guys take over the payments and HOA, and he still stays on the loan, but he gets his equity. And then you guys kind of buy it and hold it, and it's a good way to leverage. But I have sent him articles on this, and he's just does not interest him at all. So I send him the contracts and say, please review. It's another one of those. Do you want to consider it? If they default on the loan, and all the other ones that we've sent have told us, sent us, their stats on not defaulting on any, and it's kind of a new concept. I mean, carryback used to be back in the day, but I don't want to waste your time, Casey. I already know his answer is no.
Okay.
So
No, it makes sense.
I wish you the luck, and I'd love to get it off his plate and mine. And the market is just what it is.
How about an idea too? Because you were going to rent it out. This would be a better way to where he doesn't have to change the deed. Nothing changes on the loan. It would be a lease. Has anybody offered a lease to own to him to effectively? It's honestly sometimes.
Yeah, my broker doesn't like those. So
really, how come?
I given him the pros and cons on that, and again, I'm trying to turn over every rock for him too. But he's pretty savvy, but
I'm just curious, what's the downside of the lease to own? Because I'll be honest, I'm an investor, And I love selling some of my stuff on lease to own because now I don't have to deal with like repairs.
Yeah, because who's the landlord, who's making the repairs, that kind of thing. So
We are, like, very clearly on a lease to own, I am. And that's why, if I'm him, I love that because now I don't have to pay for any of those. I mean, to me, it's like the best of both worlds, right? And he's still on the deed, he's still protected, he still can do
yeah,
depreciation.
you can send over, a contract with that, and I'm always happy. And by law, I have to present it, right?
Okay. Yeah, because I'm just trying to think of the numbers. If we can get him close to the rent amount that he's already getting, because you're going to list it for rent, right? Because that's the whole reason
It already is $1,900.
Yeah, $1,900. Okay. So if we were
covers
close,
his everything.
Got it. So if I was close to that number, I'm probably not going to be there because I'd like to make a little bit of margin. But if I'm close there, but I'm going to take care of all of the repairs, sounds like he'd be open to that.
Yeah, just the problem with selling this, I mean, I don't know if you saw the pictures, but it's absolutely stunning what he did. But the HOA never assessed for the flat roofs. They did the tile roof underlayment in the last couple of years on the buildings, and they never assessed for the flat roofs. So because HOA went up from 3-something to 452, and potential buyers are just like, no thanks. But
452. Okay.
That's what has been really. And when he called me, was getting ready to list it. He just said, I think this is going to be a problem, but let's try it. So, that's kind of where we're at and why it has it sold, because everybody that comes in there just loves it.
Got
They
it.
just don't love the HOA, but send over what you have, and I'm always happy to present it. And you never know, you catch them on a good day, right?
Yeah, for sure. But I'm just going to make sure I got my math. So 452 on the HOA, that's his payment there.
And some change, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he's got it free and clear? Is that?
No, he has the loan on it.
Okay, but either way,
Yeah.
we're just going to make a payment right to him. But I got to make sure I service. But sounds like $1,900 is going to service his loan, and he makes a little bit of cash.
HOA, his mortgage payment, and that kind of thing. So.
Okay. Do we have any room though? I mean, or is he going to be negative? Like, say I just don't want to waste your time, right? Say I come in around $1,600 a month. Is he going to be negative cash flow? Because I'm sure he's not going to like that.
Yeah, because we have it down to almost the penny of where he would just break even.
Oh, at $1,900. Okay, that's exactly.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
That's it. What
Yep.
helps me, Becky. Okay, well,
Yep.
let me put this together in a more up-to-date letter of
Yeah, no
intent,
worries.
and
Okay.
give us his feedback.
Okay, appreciate
Okay.
it.
Thanks,
Have a good
Becky.
evening.
All right, bye.
I mean, solid, right? That was a really nice agent in that very rarely do you find a real estate agent who understands what their actual duty is, right? She's like, my duty is to present every single offer by law. I'm going to present every single offer by law. I've given him 5 of these offers already. He's turned them all down. He has no interest in that. What I loved about what Casey did was he pivoted the structure and understood very quickly what the seller's gripe was. It was the security, right? Having the deed transfer over, keeping the mortgage in his name didn't sound enticing to him. Casey picked that up in that communication with the agent and understood that a lease option would probably be the best way to go. Casey gets an opportunity to lock in an option price right out the gate right now. So if the market turns around, which, real estate is real estate, right? Things are a little soft right now, and we have a depression in interest rates over the next 72 months. You're going to find another heating of the market, which is going to be another price increase, right? So real estate does what it does. It always goes up to the right over time, right? So for Casey, that's a good play in that he can get an option locked in at a number. If he can make this make sense for himself in terms of cash flow, then on a lease option, that works. Now, how would you make money on it? Would you then turn around and lease option your lease option? Would you assign your lease option? Or would you put in a renter? It sounds like there's not a lot of margin for cash flow on that. How would you do this to make it make sense? Or as you're working through the numbers, does it feel like it doesn't? Or would you want to play ball with her in another deal?
Yeah, I was thinking. That's why I was trying to anchor her down at the end and figure out where was the bottom. And that's why I was glad she gave me it at night, because I was hoping there's some room to where we could lock it in at $1,600 and they could just be done, and then we could turn around and rent it for a little bit of cash flow.
Sure.
And then make the lease option work. That was that was a play there. But yeah, it's so thin at this point at $1,900. They're going to probably rent it out.
And you said it's in
Yeah.
Mesa, and it's listed
Chandler,
already. It's in Chandler,
Yeah.
1900, and it hasn't rented.
Sounds like they just updated that listing. So
Oh, okay. That should rent.
That's a good number.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I'm like curious why not.
And it sounds like it's stunning.
yeah,
What were the pictures like? They're really
yeah,
nice.
they look good.
It's a 2-2. What part of Chandler? Give me Bank Crossroads.
West Ray.
Ray and Dobson? Yeah, that should rent between 17 to 1900. That has nothing to do with it. Yeah. The renter doesn't pay the HOA. The renter just pays the rent. It's the owner that has to pay the HOA. So that wouldn't even factor in. That's a solid rent for that area. Because a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home would rent in the high 2000s. So that's market.
Yeah, it does.
It has to.
yeah.
In Arizona, the tenant does not pay the HOA.
That HOA is per year or per month?
Per month. $452 a month. That's big
It's
HOA.
high. It's a high HOA for
Yeah, yeah.
sure. Yeah. Which is the reason why this thing's probably not selling either, right? So, yeah.
What does that include? A golf course?
Go ahead.
Roof.
Realtors typically, like, how many properties can it list? Do they usually have, like, juggling? How many are they juggling?
You're juggling a lot.
Depends. Like I've got Monique, right? Monique's usually she's one of my favorite agents. I do 3-4 deals with her a month. She, at any given time, will have 20 to 30 active listings on the MLS, but she's super active. Like, this is a woman who does her calls every single day. She's very consistent. She has a small team. They're all killers on her team, so they all know exactly what they're doing. But then there's some agents that are going to do 1 deal a year. Most realtors are going to do less than 6 deals a year. I'd say 70 to 80% of real estate agents are probably going to do 6 deals a year or less.
Yeah.
And 20% of agents are going to do most of the volume.
Yep.
I heard the stat for 2024 is that 70 or 74%
Didn't even do a
of agents
deal.
didn't do any deals.
But that's an anomaly.
It is
right?
an anomaly
Yeah.
because we had one of the worst retail real estate markets we've had in like over 30 years. So, but we're hurting, right? Agents are hurting. So this is the great
All
time
the reason
to reach.
why investors are so needed right now, and why we can make money really easily in a situation like this, with a good volume of calls. See, at the end of the day, what are we learning from what we're doing here right now? Is that this is going to take diligence. It's going to require you to make calls. You're going to need to make a number of calls. It's not going to be just 1 call. It's going to be a handful. But how many calls are we getting through in a day here? Like 12, right? As we sit here, what is it? Yeah, about 12 calls in a day. Yeah. And you guys can see in 12 calls, we have roughly 2 almost interested, percolated things where we can send an offer out or send some terms out, right? Like that lady I spoke to today had 2 houses that we can send out some terms on. And so that's an opportunity right there. Yeah. 2 opportunities right there. So you can see that in maybe 12 conversations, you could have a pretty good pipeline of potential deals that you can build up. So it's not rocket science at this point. It's just making sure that you're doing the bare minimum of volume to have these conversations, sending out a certain number of offers a day or term sheets a day. It will create business. It will generate money. It's just, are you going to do that or are you not going to do that?
Do you want to call that agent, Ryan?
Yeah, I'm game for it.
This agent has a multi-million-dollar house that could work as either assisted living or co-living.
Oh, I'm sorry, that you sent me that one?
Yeah.
Please do it. Please call.
Yeah.
Let me pull it up real quick.
Yersin is pushing for you to buy it. I don't know if you want to buy it.
I'm not buying $4 million co-living house.
Right, I thought so too. And well, it could be assisted, but
that price point?
Well, then he sent me the mortgage statement, and it's a 8-point-something interest rate. I was like, what are you doing to me?
Yeah.
What are you doing to me then?
Oh, I want to see how you work with it.
I'm here for it.
He's like, okay.
Initiation right there.
Uh-huh.
To further Jamil's point on the volume game and like it's just numbers, today I've actually, go ahead.
Hi, this is Ryan Dock with the EXP Realty in the Wayner Group. Sorry, can
I'll hit him again right now.
So I made 19 calls today, like before we came in here, because my goal this week was actually, because it's going to be here, so I was like, I want to do 100 seller appointments this week, and my team's been helping me book them. But like, that's 100, right? That's a crazy anomaly, right? But of those 100, my goal is to make 70, roughly 70 offers, right? And that's a higher percentage. I try to make an LOI or an offer on everything, or a good percentage, 70%, right? But of those, right, we'll probably send out, of those 70 as far as contracts, maybe 20, right? And I'll have 20 contracts, and that would be a phenomenal week, right? But you guys see the numbers, right? It's a numbers game, and unless you do volume, because if you just do 5, you might miss out on all 5. And
The other side is it's consistency over time, right? It's not like you're making 100 dials while you're here this week and then forgetting about your leads, right? It's the trickle that's where you get your deals. On Friday, I'm going to be presenting a multifamily deal that my team is going to be keeping. That deal came from a low equity lead that I originally closed the agent on in June. Since then, we closed a Morby method and now this deal. That's one agent who a person on my team called in June, and he's now getting paid on his 3rd deal. This stuff works, guys. It's really good. I'm going to try this guy though. By the way, if you guys want to invest in that deal, I'm opening up a fractional account. You guys can be a partner with me.
Hi, this is Ryan Dock with the EXP Realty in the Wayner Group. Sorry, I can't take your call at this moment, but I
Okay.
promise I'll get
All right,
back to you
Yarzan, I
as soon as
tried.
possible.
The guy didn't answer.
Any way that I can. Hope you're having a good day. Bye.
Ryan, what's going on, brother? My name is Matthew Starbakowski. I have a good buddy, Jamil Damji. He does a lot of rent by room locally, and him and I were thinking about partnering on this deal. Let me know if you guys are still selling this one. I have a pretty aggressive offer that I'd like to put in front of you. God bless. Bye-bye.
Oh, man.
Wedge method in action.
I love it. I love it. Do we have any more calls on the calendar here?
Cases, we moved that one to Thursday.
Okay.
The Richard one? The Richard Kwan?
Yeah.
So we're okay. Any questions before we does Pace want to do anything else tonight before we wrap up?
Oh, we got a question.
Yes.
It seemed like some of the objections that people were having were on the back end when somebody would do a
Sorry, could we get him a mic?
Oh, sorry.
Where's that dice?
Sorry. I can come up or whatever you do. Oh, thanks.
Thank you, brother. Sorry about that.
Thanks. No worries. Thank you. It seemed like some of the objections that some of the agents were having is on the back end. If people didn't make payments, or if like they were thinking that their clients were going to get screwed on a subject to on the back end. And so I'm wondering how you overcome that ahead of time, so then they don't come up with that on the back end.
Okay, so I'm going to give my answer, and then I'd love to hear from the 3 of you. So, especially in situations where the seller is in arrears, right? And I'm going to catch up $20, $30, $40, $50,000 in payments. Okay, let's say I do that. Right? Immediately before we're going to even close the deal, I'm going to need to catch up the arrears, right? So I'm going to be making an investment into the house of X number of dollars. I'm probably going to need to make an investment into the house to kind of clean it up, get it rent ready, and that's going to be another sum, maybe another few $1,000s, right? So I'm invested into this house for quite a bit of money at this point. Now, what have I done? I've caught the seller up and they're behind payments. I've made investment into the property. Okay, so let's just say now I get hit by a truck and I disappear and I don't make the next month's payment. Is the seller in a worse or better situation than they were in before I took over the property? Much better, right? They got all their arrears paid up. The property's been improved. They now get to inherit, they get to take that property back and just do the thing. And so I actually like to have that conversation early with them and say, now, just in case if I get hit by a Mack truck, here's how your seller's protected. So that when they immediately are disarmed with that knowledge, because they know now that I'm looking at it from their point of view, people love it when you speak to them from their perspective. Yeah. Right? So let's just say I get hit by a truck and I don't make the payments. How do you guys get protected here?
Well, they have to foreclose on your...
Yeah, and you could do a deed in lieu. Deed in lieus are really good instruments for a seller to have in hand in case of a default. Because in that case, they don't even have to foreclose to get the property back. They record the deed in lieu.
Can't do those anymore.
No?
No.
When did that stop?
Case precedents for a couple of years now.
Damn it. Okay, don't listen to that part.
Yeah. So that part though is all about, because a buyer is allowed due process. So if I've defaulted, I should be allowed due process because this is still America, and I should be able to be sent to court and go through that process. However, it doesn't mean that the seller can't present that to say, hey, dear buyer, I see you're defaulting. So you should train them to say, you could offer a deed in lieu of foreclosure in the process of your buyer being in default. And so that is just a matter of educating your sellers to say, well, if I were to get hit by a Mack truck, or preferably get abducted by aliens, that technically they could ask me at that point for a deed in lieu of foreclosure or my estate. And I could have my estate, if I put this in a trust, already have that predisposition in there. Because it's not a part of the contract, but it's a part of how my estate would plan if I were to default on this loan. Or, even better yet, ask them to sell it so that then we can reconcile the account. That would be my preference instead of giving out a deed in lieu. And that's why. Because if you've now built up appreciation as a buyer who's now defaulting, you should have the ability to sell it.
Understood. Yep. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense, yeah.
Yeah.
How do you handle it?
Yeah, the other big one is reputation, right? Yeah. And building out, and I learned this from years ago talking to Pace, is like, hey, I run my business, this is how I pay, this is how I feed my kids, right? I've been doing this for years, and I have testimonials, right? But not all you guys are obviously going to have that to start off and to start, right? But this is where partnering up or saying, hey, I'm going to do this with my partner, bring in some credibility there. Pace is good about sharing his credibility. I'd be happy to help you guys as well. But this is one of the hardest objections I ever overcome, honestly, is a due on sale and what happens. They're always going to ask that. So like Jamil said, if you disarm it and then use credibility, and that usually helps too.
Love that.
I think due on sale is the boogeyman. I think that there's a pretty healthy conversation.
Yeah, I have a line for it.
Yeah?
The due on sale clause, it's like Santa. Nobody ever sees it.
Yeah, that's good.
Right?
That's good.
Santa Claus, sorry. It's a mom joke too, kind of.
There's a lot of agents, part of the training that they give us is oh, thank you. A lot of times with dealing with agents, a lot of the training that we get as agents is don't let your clients get into this situation, because what happens then, and then nobody ever explains it. But that's why I was saying if there's a way to explain it ahead of time, or to understand that that's what you're going to be dealing with on the agent front, because we don't.
So it's a little bit more complicated with agents. I'll give you an example, but I think this is a more long-winded thing that we can cover tomorrow during office hours.
Yeah.
When you're an agent, not every brokerage will allow you to have fiduciary on a creative deal. And it all comes down with their risk assessment of creative deals and whether or not their E&O insurance will cover it, their error and omissions, okay? Right. And so I've gone through this before on a previous Zoom call. So you guys could go back, but we can cover it tomorrow about why, if you are an agent, you should actually, if your brokerage does not allow it, you should not have a fiduciary in a creative deal. And we can walk through how that looks.
Yeah.
What I was going to say, and the way that I cover that objection, is I say, don't you worry, you're getting a deed of trust and promissory note equivalent to Bank of America and Wells Fargo.
Yeah.
So I make them think about all these, these are huge companies who are obviously going to protect themselves, right? So when I talk to those agents, I'm saying, I'm going to give you the same security instruments that those big banks
That's
use.
actually brilliant.
Yeah.
And so
That's brilliant.
And so when I say that, that's how I do it. And then part of what you said, Casey, is but not only do I do that, I actually set my payment date 5 days before the mortgage is due, and I have it serviced. So that way, I actually outperform how my note is supposed to be paid. And so that's part of what I write into the contract.
She's giving the sauce, y'all. Write that down.
That's really
that's
good.
Like a third of my sales process is pitching a wrap, right? Because we're buying it subject to, but what we're really doing is we're putting the seller in the position of the bank. They have that mortgage and that promissory note to protect them. And within that promissory note, you guys can have those terms of default. Ingrid does a great job of giving them a different grace period. So if Casey's seller is nervous about having missed payments, their missed payments only start after 15 days. So if Ingrid structures the deal at 10, she can technically give the house back within that 5 days. That person has never even had a derogatory mark on their credit. There's no downside, and I think Jamil took us through the exact experience. It's sell them on the fact that you're getting your principal paid down, you're getting a better house than you originally sold. It's you want me to default. That's really what I pitch.
Yeah.
It's like,
I say that too. You want me? You want me to go do this
Let's go,
again?
girl.
Go get your down payment again.
That's
Why
right.
not? Yeah.
Yep. Yes.
Bank loan holder, if they get hit by a truck, is the deal compromised?
One more time.
The person who's holding the bank loan, if they were to die.
The seller.
Yes.
Actually, I've heard multiple case studies where that's happened to Pace. I think those are probably in the vault somewhere, and I can't educatedly explain because I know it's happened to him a few times. Has it happened to you where his original sellers have died, but he's holding the property subject to
The
and has
funny
been
thing
able to
is that
maneuver
the banks don't even know that the seller has died. They
The
just
big-
continue to take payments because, as far as they're concerned, it's a note that's performing. What is a note that's performing?
Being paid.
Somebody's paying the bill. Yeah. They're like, okay, somebody died.
But where you can get hung up on is the payoff. So what you get
Yes.
signed before you get through all this, you get a third-party authorization notarized. That way, if something happens to him, you can get a payoff when it comes time to sell it. Because I've been in a situation where you
Do you
don't
want to
have
know
that.
how you actually get through that? Do you want to know how you get the payoff? You don't call. Do you know who you may call? Title company. If the title company calls the mortgage company to get the payoff, they're not going to question that because that's what title companies do.
But title company though has to have this signed.
They still need to have a signed.
No,
authorization,
I've had title
They-
companies. I've never had a title company do a authorization to call for a payoff.
Never. I've never not. That's crazy. I've never not been able to
That's
do that
wild.
without it signed. Really.
Huh.
Make friends with title companies. I think that's what it is.
I mean, we do traditional sales all the time.
Yeah.
I honestly didn't even know that was a third-party authorization until I joined Investor People. We never have had to have a third-party authorization. Yeah.
Wow. Yes, sir.
I have two questions.
Okay.
One is, how does bankruptcy, if they file for bankruptcy, how does that affect them?
If they file for bankruptcy, how does it affect? Sorry, you're not on the mic, so I was just.
Yes, if they file for bankruptcy, how does that affect their mortgage? Because I know like a lot of times it
My
wraps
understanding is
debt.
you can have those carved out of a bankruptcy, and so that it wouldn't even be affected. Because if you carve it out of that, then it's not one of the assets that gets involved in that action.
So our up-to-date contracts with PACE actually requires that they omit this loan from their bankruptcy. Now, if you actually read through some of the posts in Subto private group, there have been some people who have had, the most recent that I can recall is Ray Rodriguez out of Vegas. The reason I remember is because he's a good friend of mine. And his seller was trying to blackmail him into getting more money, otherwise she was going to include it in the bankruptcy. And he's like, try it, because not only did you sign a contract that we closed on, secondly, your bankruptcy lawyer actually has to let me know that you're going through bankruptcy, and so then I can contact the lawyer, and the lawyer cannot break the law, so I have to let that lawyer know, here, this note's been serviced through me, and I can provide you evidence either through my bank statements or through the servicer. And so that seller has no leg to stand on. So anyways,
And then
so use the right contracts, y'all.
Yeah. My second question is going to be, so I looked at a property last week with my realtor, and it was a pretty cheap property. It was like $60,000, and it had
Ohio?
like a stupid low interest rate, like 2 point something.
Oh.
And but she was going through bankruptcy, and they already tied her like
debt.
30 grand in debt in
Mhm.
with the mortgage, and they wouldn't allow her to sell it without basically it was a minimum $110,000 because they had to include the realtor fees and all the closing and everything. But they wouldn't let her like Subto or anything like that. I guess because of the court. Is there any way to go around that or any type of? I think something that you were saying with.
I'm going to tell you something. Sometimes adult decisions deserve adult consequences. I know for you that feels like, oh my God, it's sweet. It's 2 point blah, blah, blah. But they probably should be either foreclosed on or dealt with in terms of the debt. Because if they're having to pay $110,000 on a house that's 60 grand, they actually got themselves into a lot of debt beyond that house. So I would say to you, like, move on. Yeah.
Opportunity cost, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's going to cost
Not
you more
every deal
chasing
is
it.
going to be worth saving sometimes.
Yeah.
And please don't take that as not every human is or every person is worth saving.
Right.
Because everybody deserves a second chance and an opportunity. But there's just sometimes these deals they just have way too much hair on them for us to want to shave. You know?
I mean, that's the conversation I had with their realtor, was that like, I was trying to find a way to figure it out, but I really couldn't because of everything being...
Now, I would really recommend asking this question again with Pace tomorrow.
Yeah.
Of course, he's got a different brain than the
Yeah.
four of us up here, so
Plus
three
a
of us.
much bigger breadth
But-
of experience. on
Yeah, and
creatives.
he's done more of these. He's done more of these as well. So I would want you to ask that again, just because I'd like to hear for my own sake what he would say about that. But that's my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even a bankruptcy judge can undo a Subto. That's also been something in the private Facebook page where the investor grabbed the Subto at the right time, and there was a lot of equity on it. But because our contracts weren't up to date at that point, the judge undid that Subto and decided to include it into the bankruptcy.
Wow.
So, but that's why we updated our contracts now.
Okay.
So use the up-to-date contract.
Wholesaler advice, because I sell deals to buyers all the time. Like Ingrid might buy a deal from me. I want to make sure that she's protected. So don't act like you're the buyer if you're not. And very likely it's worth connecting Ingrid to your seller so
Always.
that they can develop a dynamic that allows them to deal with those issues. Because divorces happen, bankruptcies, a death, all those variables I as a wholesaler can't control, and I'm out of the picture. I don't want to set her up for failure. So make sure that you create that bridge. It'll treat you better and your buyers will love you for it.
Yep. Great, great, great. No, don't ever say
Yeah,
that.
no, we'll get in trouble.
Yeah. No, we're never brokering.
Connector, brokers
Yeah,
are
yeah.
connectors.
Yeah, but a broker never has equitable interest
That-
where
yeah.
they do. So when we're wholesalers, we're supposed to perform.
Yeah.
A broker cannot perform and not be in trouble.
Yeah, I'm
We're,
not-
we're principals in the transaction by being named on the contract.
Yeah.
Very different from brokering.
And you guys are seeing a lot of legal stuff going on, and South Carolina, Illinois, and things like that. And the reality is that I'm not assigning the property to Ingrid or Jamil. I'm assigning the terms of my agreement, right? And having that distinction is important. Otherwise, it puts me in the position of brokerage, and that's where I don't have the license, and I can get in a lot of trouble. But
That's everywhere.
everywhere, irrespective, I'm assigning
Yeah.
the terms of an agreement. I'm flipping paper, not property necessarily.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just confusing, because private money lending, I am a broker, but I'm not licensed as a mortgage broker. So, and in Arizona, I can't do the.
Are you lending deal? Are you lending your own money?
I do lend my own money.
Okay, but now that's not brokering.
Also broker other people's money.
Okay, so when you're connecting the dots on that, there's, I'm sure, instruments that PACE has created for the Gator community or what the private money lending communities that stipulate and explain that in a way that doesn't necessarily have you brokering the deal.
Yeah.
Because brokering is brokering, right? And so we just want to make sure that we're articulate into like what your actual legal positioning is in each deal. Again, that would be something to talk with Pace about on that. With respect to wholesaling, it's equitable interest. That's what we're selling. Yeah.
Because I'm just thinking in terms of the word connector.
Understood. Yep.
Oh, connector, such a hoe of a word. I wouldn't. like everyone's a connector. It's so used broadly that I wouldn't try to create logic around it. Sorry, I'm a potty mouth too.
All right, guys. Well, amazing day. You guys get some good stuff out of this? Yeah. So, Ravi, anything that we need to know for tomorrow? Amazing. All right, so 9:30, doors open tomorrow morning here. I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Wonderful.
Bye.
Have a great day. Hi.
Hi, we're grabbing you before you go.
Yes, ma'am.
What are your two? You've got your lady.
Are you doing Deal Maker Friday? Or are you just okay?